Oh God, that was bad. That was just bad.
Okay. We are recording. All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. I guess there are some things that I should say for the audience first, before we begin. There are political aspects to the video that we are responding to. We're gonna try and keep our mouths shut regarding the more explicitly political parts because the scope of this channel is entertainment. When we do get into politics, it's mainly to either talk about history or for the funny, but or if it's like tangentially related. But here it's taken a little seriously, and it's not about something that happened and has decades of discovery about like World War II or you know like ancient Uzbekistan or whatever, you know. So however, we are going to talk about video games today, and we have a whole litany of views on video games and the shall we say subject material. Um, Fetty said he was going to be here, and I think he still plans on being here. Unfortunately, he is running a little bit late, so hopefully he shows up. I like having his company, and I would like to have his opinion on this because this video is titled "The Gamification of Violence, Israel Flag, America Flag," but the thumbnail is let me actually pull like take a screenshot of the thumbnail and post that in the post that in the cum call. There we go. Look at that. That's
That's yeah.
so. Who's played Black Ops 2?
It's
Um,
been
I
years
I have.
since, but I have.
I I've been replaying it recently with my fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's Fareed, who is firstly Yemeni. Um, but if we're saying like Arab as like a diaspora, like a regional diaspora, then fair enough. He's also a hero. He's helping to take down an international terrorist cell run by people from all over the world. Like there's English guys, there's Yemeni guys, there's Cuban guys, and their leader is a Nicaraguan gun runner from the 80s.
Yep.
So, and depending on the choices you make, he either sacrifices himself to try and kill said terrorist leader, or he jumps in front of a bullet to save someone who can stop that terrorist. So this guy's a hero by basically every metric.
Now, with that in mind, what's more important, in my opinion, is the actual words on the screen demonizing Arabs in video games. So, if you find out later in this video, this person is not a full-blown gamer. So he just chose a random picture of an Arab in a video game
Mm-hmm.
and had a crosshair pointed on him, which in this case is very much incorrect. However, his idea may have some merit as you will see in the future.
Yeah, like to say that American media demonizes Arabs, or in the very least doesn't paint a fair light of them, I agree with. I'm perfectly okay with saying that. Like war is
I mean, it's
fucking
kind of
messy and it
an.
gets its hands everywhere, and that includes the media. You
I mean,
know?
it's kind of an integral aspect of just society in general that you make sure that everybody knows that on this side of the fence we're the good, on that side of the fence they're the bad.
Yeah.
It's an ancient and archaic way of viewing the world, but it is just kind of built into the way that we think about our neighbors across the pond or the desert in this case.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
with all that being said, I would like to point out that the sponsor of this video is Raid Shadow Legends.
God.
Yeah, I don't take issue with what he's trying to say necessarily. I take issue with how he represents it, because he misrepresents a lot of the video games that he mentions, and as a gamer, I felt a little offended. He also says some things that could be taken in a pretty racist light, and whether or not they are, we will discuss.
not all
And
bad.
if he is racist, I am more than happy to take him down a peg.
Yes, because we on this show hate racism. Our first episode was anti-racist.
Yeah, pretty much. Like in case it wasn't obvious based on who's in the call right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have very varying opinions.
Oh yeah.
But considering my name in this is Hamoud Al Habib, you would understand a little bit about my interpretations about this video.
Yep, and to commemorate this this video, I am eating a pizza with 3 different kinds of pork. It's delicious.
Jesus.
Fucking
Bacon on it, pepperoni, and Canadian bacon, which is actually just ham. I don't know why they call it that.
Does ham come from the back of the pig? Because that's where bacon came from.
Yes, but why
Yes.
call it Canadian bacon if it's no different than just regular sliced ham? It's not
Yeah,
baconified.
Canada is weird.
They should just be a state. Make it a lot less confusing.
Jesus. I've posted a link to the watch together in the in the call. So
Let's go. How long ago was that? It's not-
just
it's not even the most
now-ish.
recent.
It's now-ish. Because I'm not seeing it.
Oh,
It's not in the chat either.
in the call, because it's not in the call or in the call.
No, the come call.
Yeah.
I could swear I put.
The
Oh,
come
hold
call
on. Give me a
text
second.
channel is not there. Did you not hit enter? Did you just paste the thing and then go, yeah, that sounds
Oh, there
good.
it
Good
is.
enough for government work.
No, actually, no.
There it
It was worse. I had it copied, and then I just didn't even paste it.
Why do you fail me so
Oh
often?
no.
Listen, I might be a little dumb. Okay, let's put that caveat in there before we start this video.
Listen, I'm kind of retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
They're putting propaganda in the video games. It's making the friggin' Palestinians dead.
All right, we are all in. Feel free to hit play when you are ready, team.
Team. Oh my god, this is an hour.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I'm saying let's, on the political sections, let's just bite our fucking tongues.
Yeah,
Because
we'll
otherwise
we'll
we
be
will-
here fucking all week.
Yeah.
We fight to remove all foreign power from our soil. We are
Yes.
Al-Qatala. We wage war without sympathy.
He's a very friendly man.
Okay, so I already have an issue. In the video about demonizing Arabs, we're going to show
the horrible things that they do in this story.
No, well, no. We're also going to show Farah's hometown getting bombed in Urzikstan, which is one of my favorite missions in that game because you play as a small child and have to run away from like the horrors of war, and you witness some pretty horrific shit. And then immediately followed up by Farid, who, as previously mentioned, is a hero. He actually kind of helps save the day, depending on how you play the game. So, strange choices. Makes you wonder if whoever made this even plays video games.
Very poor choice of clips. The Joker.
Okay. Okay, so again, with the obfuscation of the point, having foreign soldiers in someone's home playing that homeowner's video games, that's pretty fucked. A guy goofing around, that's normal, actually. Like, young men do that, like, especially in the army, because army life sucks. It doesn't matter if you're the good guys or the bad guys, like, army life sucks.
And also, I don't like how he's talking about like GTA, which in this case is not relevant to the conversation, but it is important to realize that these people treat war as a game.
Some do, maybe. I would hazard to guess some, especially on the way in, and the particularly desensitized ones. However,
Well,
I
these
would...
characters specifically, I think, is what he meant by that.
Hmm? What?
So not the sum doesn't really enter into it because the people that we're looking at right now.
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't shock me if some of the people that have never seen war or have seen too much of it and are desensitized, treat it like a game. But that's the ignorant and the people that have seen war. Like, the people that are sort of in between. I don't know. I've talked to veterans of all stripes from several wars, and I mean,
Many in my family.
their stories are as varied as the men themselves. So, like, it wouldn't shock me in any case, whether someone took it seriously or treated it like a game. But the people that treat it like a game, in my experience, don't treat war like a game because they played video games. They treat war like a game because they're just numb to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so
amount
this guy, you're saying that this guy is numb to war. which is
Well,
why
I'm
he
saying
is-
like specifically
I
like
wouldn't.
the
I
war
wouldn't
based
say he's.
games
I
like
wouldn't.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's numb to war itself. War itself is very different than a video game.
Yeah.
Um,
This guy specifically, I think he's just goofing off.
yeah. Because, in times of stress, a joke helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
My biggest concern once again is with the GTA link, because that's not.
It's not relevant.
Yeah,
No.
it's
Yeah, GTA is not relevant in this case.
there is
Yeah.
there is no feasible way in which you
Well,
can
it's,
say
it's relevant in this case because GTA is about looting and stealing stuff and harassing people. So
Well,
this guy does that to a T.
looting and stealing stuff, sure. Harassing people, I don't know about.
Well,
We're
no,
talking
no,
about Israeli
well, you
soldiers.
can
Let me
harass
bring out
people
my
in
stuff.
GTA.
Let me bring out my stuff. Okay. For everyone in the chat, I did about 4 hours worth of research because I was told that this video was going to be about Palestinians, and I'm a big advocate for a free Palestine. So I did a little bit of research.
Um,
So we talk about the kind of silliness that Israeli soldiers get up to.
Uh,
Does that go
I-
against the terms at the
yeah,
beginning
I
of
did
this?
say let's like.
No, but
fight
you
our-
talked about harassing people and how they
Well-
don't do that.
Well, no, like I'm like
No.
I do think soldiers in wartime often end up harassing people, whether or not they're allowed to. Like it doesn't matter. They end up doing it because they're like oftentimes upset by the things that they've seen and already done. And in
What if
GTA,
they
you
are
do end
allowed
up
to?
harassing people. So
Yes. And that's why I was saying in this guy's case, it makes sense because, you know, GTA is a game where you do all this stuff and, well, he's an Israeli soldier. He does this in real life.
honestly,
Oh,
I
him
think this
specifically?
is
No,
something.
that's a fictional
Oh,
character.
shall we go into
Well,
this
no,
guy
I'm
in
just saying.
particular?
Like, I think I don't think the uniform is the important part here. I think his age is, because I've seen people from pretty much every army do basically exactly this.
Yeah, my issue was with the GTA thing. And so in GTA you do all these things, and well, he does that in his own army.
I don't.
This is more an issue.
I think he does that
You know
in
what?
the army because the army does that because of all the shitty shit that they've experienced. Like, I don't think he's doing it because Grand Theft Auto told me that this is okay.
I think you're linking two things that don't really show much of correlation.
Oh, here we are. Okay, at the Sidi Tamim concentration camp, which is just outside of Gaza, we have children testified. They and others, including children, were subjected to rape, gang rape, other forms of sexual violence, as well as psychological and physical torture by both male and female Israeli soldiers and medical staff. This is from a CNN investigation.
Okay. What does that have to do with Grand Theft
What
Auto?
does that have to do with
Yeah.
this?
That has to do with the Israeli soldier because you guys are conveniently leaving out the Israeli soldier.
Nobody's
We're not.
convinced.
No,
no
I'm
one's
not.
completely leaving out
Like,
that.
I
No,
literally, I
because
literally
I'm
agree
saying
with
that
you
the
that
Israeli
he
soldier
probably has
does
looted
this.
someone's home. Like, I'm not leaving that out. I'm just saying I don't think that this specific clip is exclusive to the Israelis.
No,
Yeah.
but it's a really nice foundation for what they do.
Okay. What does this have to do with Grand Theft Auto, though?
No, I'm just saying. It's like, say, okay, him using a clip of GTA for what the soldier is doing is just funny. That's what I'm saying, because, you know, that's kind of what they already do over there.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
you said it was a problem, not that it supported his
No, I
point.
never said it was a problem. I just said it was funny.
But you're up in arms about it, though.
You
I
said
am up in arms about it because you're saying that this guy didn't do this sort of thing.
we never
Yeah,
did.
this is a
We
fictional
never
character.
said that. Also, this is a fictional character.
Well, not the
Who,
guy
this
on
guy?
screen, the
He's
guy
barely
he's
in it.
imitating.
Not the guy on screen, the guy he's imitating.
Yes, he's imitating a fictional character, but the other things that that fictional character does, he also imitates in real life. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, is that a real person that we're looking at? In the video, is this live? Is this like real footage?
Yes, that is real footage.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought.
it is.
Okay, so I thought that this was like an NPC from a game whose pathing was glitching. Because I was like, why the fuck is he doing this to a fence?
Yeah, no, that's the joke. He's playing this character.
Okay, I don't know what character he's pretending to be.
I feel like we're having two different conversations, actually.
We might be having two different conversations, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, shall we?
Yeah. This video's long enough. Let's move on. Points have been made by both.
Oh my god!
We need positive ID on Kobrani before we kick this off, boys.
What are most games about?
Escapism?
Try again.
Winning?
Conflict. Killing.
So
No, I disagree with that. I disagree
yeah,
with that.
like
Disagree with that.
immediately.
I don't know what
Conquest-
you're talking about. Burger
Conquest,
time? I have
perhaps.
murdered millions of cows.
Burger time.
Conquest, perhaps, since one of the oldest games is chess, and that is about conquest, and I think that goes a little bit in, human psychology, that we kind of have this like desire of conquest a little bit. I think whether it be against other people or whether it be against your own desires, it's just you will feel like you want to beat and be better than something. You know,
Yeah, sure.
I feel like
There
that
is that
is
competitive
very
aspect.
innate. Yeah, there is that innate
There's
sense, but
also
in terms of
there's
killing,
also
I disagree with that.
there's also the aspect of competition in general.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
just
We're
self-improvement if it's a sport,
yeah, like
or hell, even video
Like-
games. Like,
heck, take any combo based video game. I'm gonna want to be doing that.
I'm
Like
playing Iron Saga Versus right now. I'm doing sick combos.
exactly. Like it's literally just getting better at the game you're playing. Like
I'm actually shit at this game. That was a joke.
like the im- like improvement at whatever it is you're doing is still good depending on the medium. Like it like
Right, but this guy's idea is that conflict and killing is the point of games, or
Yeah.
if that's what I believe, which I disagree with. I
disagree
mean,
with
sure,
that.
games do have these. I mean,
in
especially when we look at more
spades.
modern days, when we look
Like
at more
it-
modern games, like absolutely.
Mhm.
heck, friggin' Super Mario is a mass murderer. No one talks about that.
You ever seen that meme where Mario walks up to Princess Peach at the end of the final castle and his boots are just covered in blood?
But yeah, like for example, in the Sonic games, you're not doing a lot of killing. You're doing liberation,
not.
if I'm not mistaken, right? Because when you break
Yeah,
the
most of your
robots,
enemies are robots that are entrapping flickies and other kinds of animals.
No, but even
Mhm.
even with that, you're still like killing the robot. You know.
Well, the
robots
the
don't
robots
live.
aren't alive.
Sure, but still, you're still doing the action of
Those
killing.
AI supporters.
Whether or not it is like living is another matter.
um,
You know what I mean? Like you could replace the robot with, for example, a goon, and you're killing that goon. You know, I feel like that's what his point is. That like at the end of the day, these games do have this like violence
Just because they
underlying
feature
on
it, well, yes, but just because violence is featured within this medium doesn't mean that that is what the medium is about. Like
Yeah.
that's
yeah, it's basically just really complex puzzle solving,
hmm
but with
How can I-
variables, like actively changing variables.
hmm
Like there's a mobile game that I've picked up that's basically, you have to, there are like these cubes, right, that you have to match the colors on, because you're given a new cube with like 1 to 4 different colors on it, and you have to match the colors that will then like eliminate each other as they come down. It's kind of like Tetris or Bejeweled, just without the time limit. It's
Mhm.
like a cool mindless thing to do, on commercial breaks, and like when you're watching Netflix or TV or whatever. And there's
Mhm.
no, I guess if you want to be like pedantic, conflict in the sense that, oh, I want to, get to the next level, but there's this obstacle here. Sure, but like there's no violence in that. There's no violence in Bejeweled or Tetris.
Mhm.
So, like, if we want to be like hyper generalistic, sure, conflict is the point of video games, but like at that point we're speaking in such broad terms that they're effectively meaningless.
It's different kinds of conflicts though, because you can generally look at it as like a test of personal skill
Mhm.
Exactly.
in a kind of like math or timing or memorization, any kind of thing like that. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be like what's the conflict in like a Farmville? Oh, okay, that's a bad example. That's not real. That's not a real game. Stardew Valley. What's like the central conflict of that? Well, it's getting better. It's like any game that you play is improving you in some way.
I
whether
would
it
say
be
it's
your personal
conflict
sense of
against yourself,
resilience
maybe.
or- Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I said that like if we're gonna be that broad, then we're basically speaking in worthless terms.
Yeah, like it's totally correct to say that games are about conflict, but what now we need to narrow down, okay, well which kinds of conflict do you consider positive and which kinds do
Exactly.
you think is,
Yeah.
as negative? And to be perfectly honest, I don't think that any kind of conflict in a game is negative. It really depends on how far you take it. Like, we see rage quits all the time. It's like, well, that's not the conflict's fault. That's
Yeah,
you getting
that's
too
just-
invested.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
wrong kind of invested.
And also there comes into play personal skill with that in that regard as well. Like if I say rage quit at whatever game I'm playing, well we'll say Shadow of War or whatever. I'm gonna try my hardest to get better at the combat or the stealth, whatever I'm doing within that game. I'm gonna try to get better at it. Like I'm gonna use whatever I need to do, use whatever tool I have, uh, 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 and just try my hardest to improve. Like it's ultimately a conflict against yourself at the end of the day with that, in that regard. Like it's
Well, now it's also very important to realize, like, when we get a little bit further into this video, this person that's making the video is not a gamer.
Yep.
No,
So
he's not.
everything he's saying is like from the periphery. So us being gamers, we can really point out that, hey, no, this is incorrect. I mean, we just gave a whole bunch of examples at this very moment that this is incorrect, or if it is correct, it's too broad to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also like I know that this is from a different video, so I'm not technically addressing the main video here, but like what is this blonde guy's point exactly? Because conflict exists in
Well,
many
he's
forms,
probably
as we
about to
previously
say
said, but it also exists in pretty much every medium. It exists in paintings. It exists in novels. It exists in plays. It's in pretty much everything.
In cinema, it exists. I mean, that's one of the driving forces of cinema. This idea of conflict and conflict resolution.
That's just storytelling in general.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, like maybe less so in painting because you can paint like a subject, like it's just I'm here to document what's happening or whatever, but like the point remains that this conflict exists in pretty much every medium and in broad enough terms, is the reason we even have art.
It's funny you mentioned that about painting because like even when you paint, say the Mona Lisa, is there conflict in the Mona Lisa? And truthfully, like, would you say
Truthfully?
there is?
In the image itself, I would
Just answer the question.
I would say no, but maybe there's like conflict
Yeah.
with like, oh, I have to wait for that paint to dry before I apply the next layer,
So even though you can have an image that is not necessarily telling a story about conflict, it is the way that the different colors and everything interacts and bounce off each other and conflict with each other that creates the image in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, we see this in cinematography
Building
too.
is a
We see
method of
like black on
conflict.
white. We see silhouettes. I mean, our eyes are naturally drawn to conflict.
Yeah, contrast.
It's designed to contrast, exactly. And contrast, I mean, is that not conflict?
Here to here.
I mean,
War
yeah,
is good.
in a pedantic sort, yeah.
It never changes.
And it's good because it's conflict. Conflict is good.
Yep. Heck, even now we're having a conversation that in and of itself can be seen as conflict.
Yeah,
like-
because like we had a disagreement earlier, so like,
Mhm.
well, yeah.
This is the most postmodernist bullshit that anybody has ever said on this show.
and,
Well,
and
really, when you get
meant-
down to it, it's all conflict, man.
Conquering.
This is where the US Army is recruiting the next generation of soldiers, the gaming world.
You look like you play Call of Duty.
Oh, we're fucked.
There you go.
We are going to be looking at a controversial video game that's based on a very controversial war. Take a look at 6 Days in Fallujah.
You have to search every house, you have to search every room, and you have to root out every insurgent.
Should real-life events be used in video games?
So again, with the obfuscation of the point, we went from, hey, here's some video games, and then an event that is not being depicted in any video game that I'm aware of.
Unless it's a Bethesda game, in which case, yeah.
No, well,
What?
okay, it doesn't matter if it's not depicted. What matters is that it's the result of depictions of Middle Eastern, war settings. That's his perception, or that's his idea.
Yeah, and that's where I have a problem. I don't think that the current bombings in Gaza are caused by video games. I think that they were caused by a long history of finger pointing that dates back to before video games were ever a thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, okay. It's not that video games cause this. It's more so that video games help this. Now, let
You're
me look
saying,
at the...
oh, so you're saying they're a contributing factor.
They are a contributing factor. I mean, like, you look at the stage we're in right now, we look at, like, why so many people joined this quote-unquote war on terror, and a lot of it has to do with, like, early video games.
I'm not so sure.
I'd have to.
I think-
I'd have to.
I think 9/11 was a bigger contributing factor than Call of Duty ever could be.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely,
at least
absolutely.
for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Maybe in future wars, like the upcoming one in Iran, if that actually ends up being a war. I wouldn't be surprised if there are people that are, join the military because they played Call of Duty and thought it looked cool. But again, with my experience talking to, both former and active members of the military, video games are rarely ever a reason someone joins the military.
A lot of.
Full Metal Jacket's been a stronger reason people I know have joined the military than games have been.
Yeah, like
Don't ask me how
the.
that happened, by the way.
I have a friend I talked to who's actually in the military. He joined because family. It was tradition for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
Why would
like
they
he
do
come.
There's that, but also keep in mind that you guys are, this is, lived experience, which I'm not going to take away. I mean, absolutely, that is 100% the case that
Mm-hmm.
other events led to people joining the military. However, I will say that video games such as, for example, Call of Duty and specifically like the early Modern Warfare stuff really, really, really help sell the desensitization of, the people in these regions, like whether they be Arabs or whether they be, Afghans, Pakistanis, that we are human in the first place.
The desensitization of violence in video games has been going on long before Call of Duty.
No, absolutely, but especially
It-
when your main enemy is this unnamed guy with a funny mask on that's and you would
just
see
like
that
it.
Honestly, I'm not convinced that video games desensitize people to violence because I have been playing video games for most of my life, and I'm a curious sort, and
As am
I used to there was a time where I wanted to join the military, and then after that there was a time I wanted to join the police. I wanted to bridge the gap between civilian and officer for a while because I saw an ever-growing divide and I wanted to do something about it. And so to sort of prepare myself for these potential futures, I started looking at footage of, frontline duty, both in war and in police work. And let me tell you, holy fucking shit. I'm actually more sensitive to violence in video games now because I know what real violence looks and sounds like. Like, it is very disturbing. Like, real world violence is the only thing that can desensitize you to real world violence, and I say that I say that from the fucking heart, man. Like, my god.
Now let's talk about how liking swords makes you a fascist.
I mean, you can go for it.
Can I ask your stance on Palestine? I don't think we're killing enough of you.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, that guy's an ass.
We stand with Israel.
I love Israel.
Look, the President of the United States of Israel.
The eternal friendship relationship is very important.
We are you, and you are us.
The dehumanization of Muslims.
The presidents of the
extremist.
Stop it!
What?
The presidents of the United Illegitimate State of Israel? Yeah, I'm not on either.
Mainstream media is nothing new, and consequently, people have become immune and desensitized to killing, especially the killing of Muslims.
In 2021, a video game called Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 was released.
And that game
Notice,
rocks.
by the way, how the bad guys are wearing a keffiyeh. This is a theme we'll be returning to a lot in this video. So that game was released in 2021, and on June 5 of 2021, a promo event for the launch of the game was held. The event was actually a crash course in counter-terrorism military training, and a great case study in how the gaming industry glorifies violence against Arabs. YouTubers and gaming reporters were invited to the event, which was held at a facility which flew a Trump 2024 The Revenge Tour flag on its main building. And decorations included a pile of rotting meat next to a decaying pig head. And
so I
let him finish. Let him finish. I know what he's going to talk about. Let him finish. It's important that he finishes the statement before we comment on it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it sounded cool up until that part about the hey, we're gonna advertise our politics and have the rotting pig meat.
Yeah, that sounded like a problem.
Reporters then ran through a combat scenario against actors dressed in white robes and keffiyehs. These actors were white actors hired to play Arabs.
This is absolutely the best experience I ever had at a press event, period. Sniper Ghost Warrior, this makes you want to play the game, buy the game, talk about
the game,
experience the game.
And the reporters were asked to hold their fists in anger as they faced the role players, and the role players, the white actors playing Arabs, started ululating like jihadists.
Peter, this is my friend Omar. He can teach you many things about our faith, including how to ululate.
What's that? It's this. Oh my god, that's terrifying.
Eric Switzer from The Gamer wrote that he felt he had been tricked into thinking it was normal because everyone around me was acting like it was normal. CI Games, which developed that game, later issued an apology on Twitter.
That just reminded me of that American Dad episode.
I know it's not technically part of the point of the video, but like, is ululation terrifying? Like, I don't. Like, I could see, like, if there's, like, an army of dudes doing it, yeah, but, like...
It's not natural?
No, it is terrifying. I mean, do you know the Rebel Yell?
Well, yeah, but that's why I said an army of dudes. Like, I don't see why Peter was... I mean, I know Peter's supposed to be an idiot, but, like, I don't see how anyone could find one dude doing it scary.
That's quite literally the joke of that scene, is that one dude doing it is not actually terrifying. He's just being an American.
Yeah, maybe.
I am fairly certain the joke there is that his prejudice is showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of that, I think there's a little bit more after this as well. So I'm gonna play just a little bit after when he's finished with this point. Then I'll really
claiming
comment.
it intended to replicate how real US Navy SEALs train and give press a real-life taste of what it would be like to be a Raven, Raven being the game's main character. A real-life taste of what it's like to be an American, not an Arab, of course. The idea is that these games and their developers portray Arabs as faceless fodder, and not just in games, in movies as well, although the game is the focus of this video, but I recently watched a movie called...
That's another thing entirely. So about the events where, you know, you're dressed up as like this Arab guy, and they're playing actors, so you, the player, never get to play one of them because, you know, you're a human being, right? And they're not. They are, you know, the enemy, as to say. It's, you know, it's, I don't know, I'm numb to it, you know, because it's just, I've seen it so much. It's like, how do I describe this? It's expected. It is to be expected that, you know, like if there's any word to do with like U.S. military, that they are going to be incredibly racist. They're going to, you know, see me as a lesser human. They're going to want to, like, you know, make fun of me. It's expected, you know, for the U.S. military, anyone involved in the U.S. military as well, to do something like that. So with you guys, you might say that, like, oh, that was like absolutely disgusting. That was like, oh, that's bad look. I'm used to this. Like, this is the tip of the iceberg. You know? I had another point, but I forgot.
Being called.
like what, Hick?
No.
How dare you?
That calls me that.
But yeah, no, it is very, especially in like the modern day, because this was only what, 2019. Like, I would expect this in the early 2000s, but it's like really 2019, and then you're doing this, like, haha, you're funny, aren't you? I'm sure your wife loves you and hasn't cheated on you 45 times. Fucking animal.
My wife does love me and doesn't cheat on me. Thank you.
Anyways.
Warfare, about a unit of American soldiers in Iraq, and of course the enemy was wearing keffiyeh, and there was one scene where the American sniper, was waiting and looking through the crosshair, the sniper crosshair, and he was telling his partner, like, they're getting their jihad on. First of all, you invaded Iraq for no reason whatsoever. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. You've destroyed the whole country, and they're getting
So, yeah, a movie about warfare is trying to accurately depict warfare by having the soldiers crack jokes with each other. That, I haven't seen this movie, so maybe it is American propaganda. I don't know.
What's the film we saw? Is it talking about warfare?
Yeah.
The movie Warfare?
What was?
Yeah, no, it's very clearly just meant to accurately depict the way that soldiers talk to each other in the field. It's a good movie. I actually recommend it. It's nightmarish to behold in a lot of ways.
What was the movie again?
Warfare.
But yeah, it is absolutely being critical of the way that they talk. It's not it's not meant to be funny for the audience.
Yeah, which this is one of
Warfare,
many
Rogar. The name of the movie is Warfare.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is one of many instances in which I think I hope he's not doing it deliberately. I think he's just doing it because he's invested in the situation, and like, understandably so. You know, there's some pretty heinous shit going on in the Middle East right now. But sometimes in being invested in something, you can get a little bit too close to it, and so when you see something that's tangentially related, you have a very strong filter over how you see it, as opposed to, you know, taking it as it's supposed to be taken. Now, could this new Warfare movie cause some fucking racist retard to, you know, be more racist? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Not the fault of the media, though.
Well, yeah, and like I said, like, American media does not paint Arabs in a very fair light. Like, I'm more than happy admitting that.
I mean, we covered this earlier, though. Like, nobody says anything nice about the ops. You can't be nice to the ops. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And that oftentimes does extend into, rather than just the enemy, also the, you know, the culture and, you know, the people that the enemy comes from, you know? So, I do share the sentiment that that's a problem that we need to avoid, ideally. I mean, maybe that would backfire and mean that nobody ever wants to go to war again, even in the face of, like, a second Hitler. But, I
mean, we have that, and we're on his side.
Oh, yeah. I would hope that humanity's better, but, recent events have shown that, we might not be.
Well,
Thank you for catching up.
I will say that, I think his point is just more so showing frustration that, this is sort of the way that we are represented as, like, these mindless goons who are in this war zone that these poor soldiers are in. Those poor soldiers. And they have to, kill these evil, bad guys, despite, those evil bad guys being in their own backyards, fighting for their homes, fighting as, for their freedoms, which is ironically what America is all about, right? Mm-hmm. The whole idea of fighting for freedom, which is our big thing in the revolution. Well, these people are doing the exact same thing. They're essentially fighting for their freedom from, their oppressors, who in this case are the American military. It's just, there's this double standard where, because America chose to be the invading force, that you can't really justify defense with an invasion. And I think that's what he's showing. Like, he's showing that frustration that, a lot of people, regardless if they be Arabic or Muslim, feel that, like, hey, you're in their home. Why are you calling them a terrorist when you're in their home?
Yeah, well, and that's why, like, someone like me, is so frustrated by shit like this, because I see clearly how people on both sides could come to those conclusions, and because I've met veterans of all kinds of backgrounds and stuff, I know just how good and how evil two individuals on the same team can be. And, like, it doesn't matter, like, if your army is fighting for the right cause, or, is doing the right things or whatever. Like, all of the best and worst things that you can come up with are going to be perpetuated by the same armies. Like, there are absolutely terroristic assholes on both sides, and so it's like it's just frustrating to have to deal with, and, like, in a way, it's frustrating
for you. It's frustrating for me.
I know, like, for you especially, because you grew up in America right after 9/11 happened. Like, I cannot imagine that would have been easy.
Ugh.
I for one can absolutely understand where you're coming from. It's just, his points aren't hitting the nail per se. Like, it for me at least. Like,
yeah, he gets very close sometimes, but I mean, and of course, I'm giving him a lot of, like, leniency because I feel represented a lot by what he's saying. Like, a lot of the stuff that he's saying is stuff I don't talk to you guys about, because obviously, why would I talk to you guys about this sort of stuff?
Well, you don't talk to me at all.
But with the like, everything this guy's talking about, I just don't say that to you guys because you guys wouldn't understand, you wouldn't relate. It's like this idea that, like, I always feel like, oh, I'm represented as the bad guy. He covers that, so I give him a lot of leniency. However, there are some issues, especially when we get further on into the video with the stuff that he says. But as of right now, I'm fairly on his side.
There's jihad on there resisting you. Basically, our cultures and our lands are nothing but playgrounds for destruction. Vehicles for Western heroism in the media. And video games are a big part of the media, as I've discovered while researching this video. I'm not much of a gamer, but researching this video, I've been, like, for 5 weeks just researching games. I would say the indoctrination is even more effective in video games, because it's more immersive than movies.
Or IGN.
Because in movies, there's a distance, right? You're watching it. But in a video game, you're literally role-playing the part of someone who's killing Arabs. I was struck by how normal it is to kill people that look like me. And
oh my God!
Always, by the way, regardless of where the video game.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. I couldn't get through any of the Call of Duty games because I saw myself in the people I shot. So I had to put the fucking controller down and just like I couldn't do it. It's so true. No, because like I'm sick and tired of like shooting the brown guy that looks like me. That probably has my name.
Well,
I'm fucking sick and tired
here's the thing,
you know?
I have enough German blood in my DNA to like look German. And I grew up on the World War II Call of Duties, and I never felt uncomfortable with that. Even in like Battlefield, in Battlefields 1 and 5 where you're killing Americans, I never had an issue personally.
Can I, if I might step in? Are you a Nazi?
No.
There's nothing that ideologically ties you to those people then.
True, but like
our dear friend Hamoud.
So then why would you? So then, yeah. So then, why,
true.
Why would you?
But that's why, like, for example, in
connection to don't interrupt me.
Okay.
There's a closer connection to the characters that he's seeing on the screen being killed and being treated like the enemy, which brings me to my next point. If you don't see the crazy person on the bus.
Yeah, I can, I see it, yeah.
So okay, I understand if like there's like one bad guy that's like, oh well, this guy's name is like Khalid al-Assad, whatever his name was. But regardless of that, there's the unnamed goons with brown skin that are in their native homeland. That's like, I feel like the monster killing them, like and they could be like, I don't want to be the people that called me a terrorist. I don't want to play those guys. I don't want to. That's normal. I feel like that's completely normal for me to not like the people that
can I ask a question?
Me for so long. Yeah, what's up?
Would you rather it be the inverse?
It would never be the inverse.
Well,
it would never be.
It's not a matter
inverse.
of would it be. It like or can it be? It's like, would you prefer that? Is what he asked.
Would I prefer? Okay, well then here we have an interesting situation because like I feel like a lot of these people are defending their homes. I'm much more inclined to be on the defender side. In most wars, I'm more inclined to be on the defender side. However, when there's atrocities being done by like a governmental facility and you need to take care of that, sure, go for that. But for the most part, I'm on the defender side, right? Now, this is much more a case if you're asking me if I'm a terrorist, which I don't appreciate.
I'm not asking you that, no. I'm asking you if you would prefer the inverse.
I would prefer maybe the option of having an inverse.
So, like a multiplayer game.
Sure, something like that. But the idea where like your entire campaign is focused on these point of invaders that come in, that slaughter like a whole bunch of people. You don't even know the people that you're killing name. I mean, you never really do in any kind of war, but like it's even more exaggerated when you're just calling them Hajis or when you're calling them just like insurgents or terrorists. I mean, you point a gun at me and call me terrorist. Like that there's an Irish song that's all about that, It's just like I don't appreciate that, Yeah, I don't appreciate like talking about these kind of wars. You know what I did appreciate? I appreciated Battlefield 1 because I saw myself in the Turkish units. I had so much fun playing as the Turks because they were treated with respect. It's like these invaders come to our homeland, we're just trying to fight them off. That was their whole thing. Like that's their thing. And I related. I never really fought, but like I appreciated that. It's like, yeah, no, they're defending their homelands, and they're treated with respect. Call of Duty will never do that to the other side. They will never treat like Iraqis like that unless they're Kurdish, unless they're helping them, right? They would never treat the exact enemy of you with that level of respect. If we treated the Iraqis or the Afghanis in the same way that like Battlefield 1 treats the Turks, then sure, then I would be like, okay, well, I know why these guys are fighting and they look like me. I'm more inclined to fight in that, fight alongside that. Do I agree with all their ideologies? Hell no. Hell no, absolutely not. But I'm not playing a game in terms of ideology. I'm playing a game in terms of representation. I want people that look like me. I don't want to kill the people that look like me.
Okay. I think that actually makes a lot more sense now that you've like expanded upon that, because like when you add not just the way that it looks, but also like the context of it, it's like I was thinking in. Because like I really liked playing the the German army because I just like their aesthetic and I like their voice lines,
and fresh though.
They do.
They look awesome.
Yeah, and so like I had no issue with like killing the oncoming Americans in the forests of not Verdun, that's the different map, Argonne, in the Argonne forest or in Ballroom Blitz. However, when you brought up the whole like invading part, in the Verdun map, it was kind of horrifying realizing that the French are just in a way defending their homes from the Germans. And while I prefer playing the Germans on that map because there is that uphill battle, so to speak, which feels more rewarding, there was a much stronger element of horror there because it's like, well, yeah, these guys are just defending their homes. Now, because I'm very game-brained, I kind of would normally put that aside. Like, if I'm, like, at the end of the day, then I'm just going to play the game. But, like, if I'm there to play the game and I have nothing else to do because it's a Sunday or whatever, then I'll have some fun and I'll immerse myself. And I can, like, now that you've explained it, it's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense than just they look like me. Like, there's a whole context behind it that can help make or break the immersion, if nothing else. So that actually does make a lot of sense now that you've explained it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Argonne, Alvin York is buried like 2 hours away from where I live. I went to visit the grave for my birthday last year.
Who?
That was an amazing experience. Probably one of the best things I've ever done.
Who's that?
What?
Alvin York. I don't know who that is. The name's not ringing any bells.
Alvin C. York. He fought in World War One. In the Meuse-Argonne offensive, he took a German gun hill basically by himself. While his platoon was pinned down, he went around the back of it with just his sidearm and like 2 or 3 guys.
Oh shit!
And captured 100 and was it 172 Germans? Just that way. And he received commendations in a letter that said, "Well, York, I understand you've captured the entire German army," and he wrote back, "No, sir, just 172."
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, a personal role model of mine, a truly amazing person, and it was quite something to visit his hometown and his grave.
But also, one thing with regards to like you talked about the Germans and the French. Trisket, are you not also French?
Yeah, I have a lot of European ancestries.
Yeah, so I mean, realistically, in Battlefield 1, I feel like you could relate to all the sides except the Turks, really.
Well, to be fair, I didn't know I was French when the game came out.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm Italian. My people are always the bad guys if you go back far enough.
Also, while we're on the point of him talking about the Keffia, I will completely admit that I know almost nothing about the Keffia. I didn't even know what the word was until I was introduced to it through this video. So, Hamoud, can you explain why he keeps circling the Keffia back to Palestine specifically? Because isn't that a fashion from more than just that little strip of land?
Yeah, the keffiyeh is throughout the region. However, the typical black and white keffiyeh is much more Palestinian kind of design. I know in a lot of these they're not showing that. So, the keffiyeh, the shemech, it has a G name in Saudi. I think it's like Gadara, something like that. But yeah, no, it is simply a head covering that you could wear either like a turban. You could also wear this as a protection for your lower head. It is a more so like an Arab kind of fashion statement. Mm-hmm. So regardless of this being, Palestinian or not, well, it is definitely Palestinian. it is also shared by like the rest of the Arab world as well. I mean, even if you go to like Morocco, they have forms of kafiyeh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much more, I would say, like Arabic. And what I mean by Arabic, I mean like Arab, not Arabic, Arab.
Mm. So like
it was
the
used
culture
also,
rather than the...
yeah.
Okay.
And it was used also by occupying troops, whether they be American or Israeli, because it is really just a useful piece of cloth.
Mm-hmm. So, like, would you say that this is probably like just another example of, hey, you got a great point, but you're showing visuals that are hurting what you're saying?
A little bit of that, a little bit of that. I mean, if he showed the black and white keffiyeh, then I would be like, oh, that's Palestinian. But he's showing like the Saudi keffiyeh, which is like, but buddy, that,
Yeah. Okay.
Game is set, and usually it's set in like fake Arab countries. They're always wearing the keffiyeh. The idea is that it all ties back to Palestine. You'll notice in this video that I focus heavily on the game Call of Duty, because there's no more recognizable name in war games than Call of Duty. What's amazing and scary
I
is
hate
how
stuff like this.
hyper-realistic the view is of the war in Call of Duty.
I hate stuff like this because you're literally going through someone's home in the middle of the night just killing. I hated stuff like this. It's like, I really don't see you as the good guys in this. Like they're at home sleeping. That's really
I'm trying to remember what mission this one was from.
This one was from one of the more recent ones, I think.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm trying to remember, because there's two of these missions in Modern Warfare 2019. One of which, yes, you are in Urzikstan taking out, members of Al-Qatala. So they are basically just in their homes chilling. But there's one where that terrorist attack that we saw in Piccadilly, that one was orchestrated by Al-Qatala agents that were, like in Britain, that had, rented out an apartment complex in Britain, and you had to go through this, this apartment complex room by room, and like have to like see which ones are civilians, which ones are actively like trying to kill innocent people. That one is arguably the best mission in the game, because not only does it break up the usual just go around shooting the bad guys type stuff, but it also shows like just how dangerous this shit is for a lot of the civilians as well as the people fighting. And it's a much more slow and methodical level, and so it's like every step feels like it has weight. I fucking
so it's like
love
a
that
SWAT
level.
team. It's like a SWAT team entering kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, that's like, okay, I get that that's in England, and you're just doing like a defense against domestic terrorism. That's cool. That's cool. But in this, you are in the homes of the people on their native land, and you're going through their homes, killing them, and in some cases, you also kill their families too. It's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yes, I can agree to that. I can agree to that to a point. However, you have to take into account the situation they're in. Like,
yeah, like
while they are in like on, like you said, their home and whatnot, the situation they're in affects everybody involved in this, even the soldiers taking part.
Oh, don't give me that. I don't give two shits about PTSD. If you go over to someone's
I'm
home
not
and
talking about
you slaughter
PTSD.
them.
I'm not talking
hi,
about
Dennis.
PTSD. I'm talking about like the Trisket, remind me, what was the situation in which this mission was taking part? I know it was like terrorism and whatnot.
Yeah,
I don't remember the exact.
The British flat one was, basically a terrorist attack had just gone down in Piccadilly, hundreds dead. And so now you're taking out like the heads of that little cell that's in Britain, and in doing so you get some information on where the cell came from, and But in the second one from Modern Warfare 2019, It's basically one of these agents had gotten their hands on some chemical weapons from Russia and planned to use it on everyone. You know, the Russians, the English, the Americans, and in doing so, they probably would have gotten some Urzikstan killed as well. And so you have to go, you know, raid these houses looking for the chemical weapons to prevent them from being used in the first place. The game does punish you for killing non-combatants, by the way. You know, depending on the age of the said non-combatant, you know, it changes the severity of how you get chastised.
Right.
But also, I do know that there is in some of these houses people that are like, they're waking up and they're picking up rifles to attack an intruder.
Yeah, like some. Like,
do we know if those guys are all, you know, terrorists, or are they just people that see someone barging into their home with a rifle and, you know, defending themselves?
Yeah, and therein lies some of the complexity.
That's the issue. It's a very complex situation, and no, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
That's the issue, because any one of these people could be you know, on the opposing side.
Or they could just be a normal person who's like, "Oh my god, that's fucking aliens," you know? Like,
exactly. Like, it's a deep situation that I don't think we can paint. I don't think we can paint this on what this topic, what the video topic is.
The game, I think, does do I mean, it's a video game, so it kind of does just skip past that conversation a little bit, but it doesn't do anything to, you know, say, hey, all of these guys are bad guys either. So it's like, it's kind of in this weird limbo state.
I feel like that's kind of the minimum that they could do, or but by saying that, oh, well, not all these guys are bad guys. I feel like that's kind of the minimum.
Yeah, I mean,
it could do a bit more.
Outside of there being non-combatants, it doesn't explicitly say that. But given the situation, it's not that hard to, you know, figure out that was, like, some of these people were probably just defending a home.
Yeah, but I just not a big fan of like just stuff like this. I don't know, like movies or video games where I see stuff like this. It's just like, you know, these people also. I mean, a lot of them are bad guys, sure, but a lot of them are not bad guys, and it's like you're just barging into people's lives and, like, you know, destroying it, and then, you know, with like zero repercussions. It's like.
I understand where you're coming from. It's just, like I said, I don't think, like, the situation is too complex for us to, like, paint all of it as, like, this one thing.
What I will say, and Rogar can attest to this, is that Piccadilly sounds like the name of a grocery store that we have out here called Piggly Wiggly, and
it does.
Hear that name without thinking about that. It's a good store.
It's the name of a roundabout in the surrounding markets in London.
Piccadilly? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They call it Piccadilly Circus.
It sounds exactly like something that an English person would name.
It does. It does.
And this dangerous portrayal of good versus evil. Notice how they portray the American soldiers as caring for what happens to the kid.
British, actually, not American.
Even worse, the British don't care about. They don't even care about their own kids.
Jesus.
They care about their own citizens.
Yeah.
Well, neither do the Americans, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fairly well looked after.
Well, in any case, and this is kind of why I brought up, you know, whether or not they're allowed to. Officially, the rules of engagement are keep non-combatants out of the fight, and that's why soldiers are very frequently officially reprimanded for, you know, damages that they do to civilian homes or to religious sites, or, you know, to civilians. whether or not that has an effect on reducing civilian casualties, like, statistically, it does. But because of the complex nature of war, and also just the fact that war attracts some fucking psychopaths, if we're being real, civilians are still killed all the time. It's terrible.
Well, the best way that they do kill civilians is with, you know, rocket attacks where you never see them.
Oh no, you see them, actually. I've seen like footage, like leaked footage, documentary footage, and all that of people in these sort of like drone centers, and you can see the people. Like, it's not as clear like if you shot them from like 15 feet away, but you could definitely see them. You could even make out like the shapes of their beards and like almost the exact model of the weapons that they're carrying. Which not so fun fact, because of that level of detail, drone operators suffer from it was a similar rate to infantry fighters of PTSD. So that's terrifying.
But also, then of course there's also almost like disconnect.
There is a disconnect because it's through a screen, and that's why it's similar, not the same. And like I said, you know, war attracts fucking psychopaths. Like, there are absolutely people out there that enjoy what they're doing.
Like, Discord? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through.
You are now.
Oh, okay.
Kind of altered his foot there, though.
Like, there are some genuinely scuffed people out there in the world who will absolutely partake in the murder of civilians. I forget the guy's name. It was during, I believe, World War II, where this dude had captured enemy non-combatants and was doing biological tests on them. And I think it was Japan. I forget his name, but
Unit 5-3 or Unit
731.
Unit 731.
Well, to be fair, that's also
that dude
Japan.
Well, I mean, yes, but like it's still like the point still stands. Like, that dude was a genuine psychopath, and he unfortunately got away with what he did. Still, though, genuine psychopath. I would not. There was a hell is hot where he's at. So
fucking better be.
Yeah, I love that Turkish phrase. Thank God for hell.
Kind of a scuffed thing to say, but you know, it has its place.
As Turkish would say, yes.
Well, you want Hitler to be in heaven with you?
No.
Come on.
No, well, frankly, I want there to be no afterlife, but you know, that's a whole other conversation.
Holy edge.
Holy edge.
Yeah.
If I close my eyes for my final rest and I wake up with more life I gotta do, somebody's gonna get an earful for eternity.
Honestly,
do I have to pay taxes up here, or
money? But what if you don't have
tax?
to worry about taxes? No. Life without taxes, I think that would be bliss.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
I agree entirely.
Not life without taxes, but instead we have taxes without life. Unfortunately, this is deep.
Okay, Franklin. Wait, it was Ben Franklin that said that, right? About the 2 guarantees?
No, that's not even a real quote!
Wow.
Sounded like
I made that up!
No. Like, there are only 2 things guaranteed: death and taxes. I thought you were referencing that.
There's actually 3, though. 3 things are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and computer crashes.
Well, yeah, but they didn't have computers in 1770s. Unless...
Dude, I actually thought that you crashed for a second because you stopped in the middle of 1776. I was like, no fucking way.
We're not gonna get through this.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
we're not.
Let's hurry the fuck up.
That a lot of people are
Regardless
thinking
of
that
the
right
specific
now.
games, whether it's Call of Duty or others, they all have the same depiction of the Middle East. They are designed to desensitize the player to the idea of killing Arabs, to the humanity of Arabs, especially Palestinians, because of the kafir features in every game. And then this makes killing Palestinians easy, as we can evidently see today.
To be fair, one was at a distance
Did you
with a
hear
rocket,
about
the other
this
was just
girl
spray
in
and pray,
Israel
so...
who did a Facebook post. Her name is Ella Cohen. She made it anonymous. She hid the faces of the soldiers, but she was at a bus stop with 2 Israeli soldiers, and she overheard them talking about what it's like to be in Gaza, literally saying that killing Palestinians was like a video game. And she ended the post, that's the part that got me, with, please save us from ourselves. Like, please save us, the Israelis. My God, they're so indoctrinated.
Can we go
with the
back
idea
a little
that
bit?
they're
Can we go back a
victims,
little
even
bit?
when she's highlighting the
Sure.
Stop right here.
Yeah.
If you're playing this for the, we're not playing this for the people on screen or the people at home, are we? Is this also playing on the Discord screen?
No, this is just a watch together.
Okay, so the people at home can't see this.
No, people at home can see this. Yeah, it's the watch together. This is being recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they can see the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember,
I
don't
just
stream
wanna-
this. I edit
I just
these.
want to take a few minutes, just maybe like one minute.
Yeah, sure.
Of just wanting everyone to read what is being said by these 2 Israeli soldiers. And if you want me to say it, I will say it. They say, and I quote, "Bro, it was like a computer game. We put them baiting. We opened cans of food and put them on the road. They came straight and we just sprayed them all. People flew in the air. Bana. We talk about it like this. Suddenly it sounds criminal."
To be fair, you could also have this mentality if you're a hunter, not a gamer.
Yeah, like this sounds like someone's
That's not a good thing either.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that it's a good thing. This sounds like the actions of a war criminal who already thought like that. I don't think video games would have swayed them one way or the other.
But
like,
he's
don't get me wrong, this is some
comparing it
evil
to a
shit.
computer
Like,
game.
like this is some evil shit. I'm not denying that. I don't think this is. I don't think we can lay this at the feet of video games, though. I think this was a psychopath just being evil and comparing it to something else that other people would have experience with.
The media, yeah, I've said it before. The media is not at fault for how it's received. Most stories about war are inherently anti-war. If they're received the opposite, then that is on the viewer.
Yeah.
That's
most.
fair. That's fair.
There are a few that are, pro-war. They're weird.
I said most.
I
This is
know.
that thing
I know.
talk
I
about
just,
where
I
you
just
gotta
wanted...
get the last word for no reason.
Oh fuck! He called me out.
Yeah, I did, motherfucker.
Shit. No.
But still,
good
I
point.
think it's important that he does mention computer games because if we look at further in the video, this idea of soldiers in Gaza saying that this is like a computer game or comparing their actions to those of a computer game feels kind of telling. But that's just my statement on the matter. But thank you again for our audience for reading through that. Thank you.
Yeah, all 2 of you who are gonna watch this, and the 1 of you who's probably still there.
Thank you, 1 person watching.
That got me
All right.
with, please save us from ourselves. Like, please save us, the Israelis. My God, they're so indoctrinated with the idea that they're victims, even when she's highlighting the horrific situation of 2 men boasting. And she said in her post, by the way, they were talking knowing that they're being heard by everyone. So they were proud of what they did. And as horrific as that is, she still feels that the world needs to save Israelis. Save you from what? Get on a plane and go somewhere else. Make a statement. Leave that country.
Holy based.
You
Holy
can.
based. Holy
The world
based.
welcomes you. Unlike Palestinians, you can enter anywhere.
Yeah, to the people that can do that, if you think your country is beyond repair like that, please do. If you think that you can fix your country, do everything in your power to, try and fix it from the inside. Like, be at least as loud as this person was. Not the person on screen, like the person, like tweeting out, it's like, hey, this is some fucked up shit. Like we need to address something like that. But if you're just like a poor person with no money, then well, you're. I'm not gonna blame you for not taking action because you literally cannot afford it. So.
Which you're Israeli. If in this case you're Israeli, which means you can't afford it because we give you our money.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, isn't that mostly like just military donations? Like, hey, here's some old equipment.
No, we pay for their college. We
do.
Hey! They needed that to fund Spaceballs too.
Yeah, why are we paying for their college?
Yeah, we're paying for their free healthcare too, man.
Wait, why do they get free healthcare?
Right?
Like, I don't believe in free healthcare, but like, what the fuck? Like, if you're gonna give it to someone, give it to the people that you got their money from. Like, yeah, that's weird.
So go save us from. Who's gonna save you? You save yourself. Completely ignoring the fact what's on the other end of this. There's a video that I will never forget of a girl.
I will say, like, he's actually making a pretty decent point here. I will say though, given that most Israelis are the descendants of Holocaust survivors, I'm not sure that I want to blame them too hard for having a victim complex.
Most Israelis or most Jews?
We're talking specifically about Israel right now.
Yeah, I don't think.
I
well,
think
you said
only
most
30
Israelis are descendants of Holocaust survivors.
Let's look up how many are Ashkenazi. How many Israelis?
How many Israelis did the Germans get versus how many just Jews who lived everywhere else?
Well, there wasn't an Israel back then. Exactly. Or not like
32.
Really.
Ashkenazi Jews make up 32% of the Jewish population, and Ashkenazi Jews are the majority of those that like fled the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm. If wait, 32% of the world, American or Israeli?
Of the in Israel, 32% of the Jewish population in Israel is Ashkenazi Jewish.
Okay, that's still a third of them, though.
Yeah, but not all of them. Well, a lot of them were from the Soviet Union. So not all of them were Holocaust survivors.
Well, to be fair, a lot of the Jews in the Soviet Union were persecuted by Stalin. And,
absolutely,
or were moved from the Holocaust into the Soviet Union. So,
if when they fled, it was more so they fled to Palestine versus them fleeing to the Soviet Union. The ones that were in the Soviet Union, for the most part, stayed until they themselves wanted to move out.
Okay. Thanks, Stalin.
Yeah, 48% identify as Sephardic, so those are from Spain and Portugal. And either that they're 48 or either Sephardic or Mizrahi, who are from the Middle East.
Okay.
And 32% are Ashkenazim.
Okay, so there's still like a good amount of persecution, like within the living memory of their culture and their people. Like if 1 out of every 3 people that you know either survived or like is descended from someone that survived the Holocaust, like I could see why that in and of itself would create a victim complex, never mind the centuries of persecution that the Jewish people have had to face in Europe.
Yeah. But also when that victim complex is weaponized in order to victimize another group of people.
Oh, yeah, I'm not denying that that's happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talking to her mom, a Palestinian girl, fantasizing about what her shroud will look like that she will be wrapped in when she dies.
ماما لقيت عايزة الشهيد ميت من وين بيجيبوا لي الشريطة والبيضة وبيحطوا عليه؟
بيبعتوا لنا إياها من برا يا ماما، بيبعتوا لنا أكفان من برا عشان نحط الشهيد فيها.
انت مش قلت انا ما تحط علي شريطة؟
بعيد الشر عنك يا حبيبتي يا ماما.
This is what's on the other end of this video game that Israeli soldiers are playing.
No, I'm sorry, but that music takes me back, bro. Not to that time I killed a lot of people in the desert. I mean, like that had a different soundtrack, but I just the fucking yeah.
This is one of those things where it's like I shouldn't be laughing, but there is a comedic element.
There absolutely it's
Look, he's got his Instagram.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, he's almost a beak.
God.
Not quite a beak, but he's almost one.
Oh my god.
In Modern Warfare 2019, the reboot of the popular Call of Duty series, a 10-person multiplayer kill streak reward
I'd rather it be white phosphorus. I don't trust the black stuff.
you with white phosphorus, an odorless
No one ever
waxy
does.
chemical you can drop on the battlefield to kill dozens in one fell swoop. P.S. White phosphorus, which causes severe skin damage and eye burns, as well as damage to the respiratory system, has been dropped on Palestinians in Gaza during this genocide. And it's just a reward in a video game. The white phosphorus, by the way, was a very controversial addition to a game that was already quite controversial, Call of Duty, because it has historically dehumanized Arabs while leading to its connection to the military.
I mean, it over the course of like 3 games out of its 20 game tenure.
Yeah, it's a bit of a.
I mean, it's like what you're saying is technically true. I just like. I don't know. I don't. I think I would have phrased that better if this was my video.
Spain with broad strokes here.
Yeah.
We have Apex Legends being played right here. We get our Fortnite duos that are also playing right here. Fighting game guys playing on the other side. It's all set up.
Oh, what are they playing?
Oh god, that's a bigger crime than their
God
crime.
damn it!
For
Fuck you
streamers, it's
guys!
set up for competitive gameplay.
The army is here.
This is how we know the army is letting people who don't take showers into their
He literally said, "We've got our fighting game guys over there," and then showed us fucking League of Legends.
Right, like
I want to see some high-level army Guilty Gear play.
I did see. I think I saw either Soul Calibur or Tekken on one of the screens. So
It better fucking be Tekken.
We're not going back.
One
We're
of the
not
world's
checking.
top gaming expos to showcase its latest recruitment tool, the U.S. Army esports team.
It's an opportunity to engage them in a platform where they're on there constantly, day after day. Someone who has the skills, the discipline, the desire, the communication, those are all things that we're looking for in soldiers.
Imagine like they're running fucking sets in Street Fighter 6 in the army, and they keep matching them with Rashid players. Going there, that's your enemy.
We're gonna Hadouken the Taliban.
Pulling the curtain away and showing you who we are as people.
By the way, the US Army's pipeline from gamer to soldier is no secret. But new documents show the military's recent detailed plans to spend millions to recruit Gen Z through gaming-related sponsorships and ad campaigns.
A few weeks ago, a long-running video game franchise was quietly laid to rest. And don't worry, I'm not talking about Sonic or Mario or Madden. As far as I know, those are all still safe. I'm talking about America's Army, which was made by America's actual army.
Good morning, soldier, and welcome to the M16 qualification range.
This game is quite possibly one of the most influential games ever made. By the late 90s, the U.S. Army didn't really have a very good public image.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
A guy named Casey Wardinsky, who was then a colonel in the Army, wanted to do something.
I have a degree in art history, and my thesis was on video games, and I've never heard of this game.
Damn.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
if Vice News
I may have stumbled across it in my research. It was more than 10 years ago at this point, but like this game clearly did not make that big of an impact. If a man who wrote a like something like 8 fucking page paper about games
It's actually really cool that you did that with games. That's really cool.
It was okay. It was an elective. I did it because I needed more than one class than film under my belt.
It'd be like that. It'd be like that.
I made a game though in that class.
Yeah.
I made a little Pac-Man game. Yeah.
I dig it.
There's only one ghost, but he can move through the walls.
Oh dang.
Yeah. It was hard. I made the Dark Souls and Pac-Man games.
I dig it. I dig it.
Anyway.
To improve that image, you were the man who convinced the Army that you should get into video games. What was that like?
Well, it was not as hard as you might imagine. It was 1999. Games are very vivid. They also had the benefit of being a direct communication channel with young adults.
And that promise of direct, unmediated communication with young people was enough to get the Pentagon to start funding a video game. So, just before July 4th, 2002, they presented America's Army at a massive video game convention in LA.
By the way, this game, America's Army, was for free and it was targeted at 13-year-olds. Using games to build future soldiers is ingenious if you think about it. Because if you view...
Orson Scott Card even knew that.
Again, who?
Orson Scott Card, the author of Ender's Game?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Hammy.
Did you just call him Hammy?
Or like a game that trains you already to be desensitized to actual war.
So in the gaming world, you know, you can just become desensitized to the violence. Like, even I am, like, somewhat desensitized to the violence. Like, there are some games, when you look at it, like, what's the game? There's one game, Far Cry. I mean, I like playing the game, but it's R-rated and it's very violent. And there's a move where you can walk up behind the person and stab them, but you turn them around to face you and stab them, and it's like, wow, man, like, that is, like, too much for me. But I think most people become so desensitized.
So, question. Firstly, man doesn't know what M-rated means. Second, he says he likes playing the game, but that it's too much for him. So,
why would you be playing the game if it's too much for you?
Do we believe what this therapist is saying?
I think he likes the gameplay, but like in some cases, it's just a bit too much.
I mean, even with that, the gameplay itself is still showing you this.
No, but the way I would imagine it is like Suspiria. So I don't know if I watched it with you guys, but I watched the original Suspiria.
Mm-hmm.
And the opening of Suspiria is so fucking uncomfortable. It is like, and it has nothing to do with the audio, or it has everything to do with the audio. But what I'm trying to say is that I enjoyed the movie while still being very uncomfortable. You know, I feel like that's sort of what he's saying, where it's like it is a bit much, but he still enjoys the game.
That movie is a fucking masterpiece.
I hated the like at the end where it just became campy horror. I was like, oh come on. With the
That's
audio.
the shallow staple though. It's like the fact that it's not like that for the rest of the movie is honestly kind of a miracle.
With the audio, I was watching some gore flick. Like I was like prepared to be seriously traumatized. And then we get to the end, and it's like, oh fucking hell, man.
And then it's like, it's over, go home.
Yeah.
Which is honestly my favorite way to end any movie ever. Just fuck off. It's over.
Yeah, I would hope that what you described, Hamoud, is what he means, but given that he said that the game is R-rated instead of M-rated, and then some of the things that he says later, I'm not so sure that I trust him.
He doesn't, he doesn't know how to explain it because he's not much of a gamer, so I would only assume that he's knowing this from, like, very cursory stuff, so he had to have enjoyed the gameplay too. Like, I feel like he's talking about the gameplay, but also when it's like, when he's killing people, he's realizing that, oh my god, that's brutal. Well, you know what I mean? Like ludonarrative dissonance.
It kind of seems like he doesn't know what he's talking about here.
Well, he doesn't. He's not a video game guy, and that's why he's saying R. Like he's saying this in terms of the movie. So, like, I feel like we're getting the most sort of raw noob gamer kind of comment from him, which I would expect this from a noob gamer. Like, he's putting his opinions in a way that he can understand, versus stuff that we can understand. We can understand a lot more, but he just doesn't know that because he's not a gamer. This guy touches grass. This guy has a job. I do not fault him for not knowing game shit.
But I
do
have
as
a
well.
job and
What?
touch grass, and I own a farm.
Oh, but this guy's like a professional. Like he's a whole ass therapist. So like,
Well,
Professional.
Yeah, like what?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. He's like a white collar, very white collar. So it's just I don't find a lot of white collar people do video games. I just don't see it a lot.
You think blue collar? Well, actually, no. What am I talking
Blue
about?
collar
Blue
people
collar.
are usually more prone to have hobbies. Than
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that he's a psychopath with no
prone
friends.
to have hobbies like it's a disease.
No. I would say that he is a noob. Like he.
No,
he
I know.
doesn't
I'm just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Also,
Being
just said
facetious.
prone to have hobbies like it's a disease. You're not one of them filthy hobs, are you?
Ew, he's got hobbies.
Ugh.
Make it sound like scabies.
How dare he see
Oh,
something he
God.
enjoys with his free time?
He's spreading his hobbies around.
I hate that.
Exfoliate
So- what?
with your hobby.
Alrighty.
my God.
Alrighty. I'm
Rub
gonna.
it in.
They
there we go.
lose the capacity to gauge that, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's just a thing, right? Like that's just a thing that happens in the game." And I do think that the strategy of America and Israel since October 7 was to not have one day without any violence. I think the strategy was to purposely smash people with so much violence that they became so desensitized that they just accepted it.
By the way, that was Sasha, a child psychologist from Australia who actually inspired me to make this video. I do love the parallel he drew to the desensitization in real life, because if you notice now, bombing hospitals, for example, in Gaza, is no longer a thing. Like, try telling your friends they bombed
Rogar,
another
your
hospital.
thing's echoing.
Be like, oh, that's too bad, and they will sip their
hang on.
coffee. It's no longer shocking. We are numb to it. Which is why, by the way, if you think about it, when there was that ceasefire for a few weeks, when they restarted the genocide, it was extra painful because we regained our sensitivity. And now we're numb again. By the way, Sasha, the one I interviewed, is my favorite kind of psychologist because he connects therapy to propaganda. Sasha actually initially wrote me about Minecraft.
Because I work with kids, I hear a lot about Minecraft. Like, you could sort of see Minecraft as the gateway drug, as like the gateway
Here
drug
it
into
is.
gaming. Like, I do a bit of gaming myself, so I know a bit about games and how they operate and how they addict you and the layers of, reward pathways and stuff.
So that's coming up later, and Sasha will pop in throughout the video in small bits, but his interview will be concentrated towards the end when we talk about.
That is probably the worst part about this video,
Oh.
to be honest, where he's talking about Minecraft, but we'll get into that.
Oh, you mean the later section? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
About Minecraft. And after the Minecraft stuff is when we get to the healing part of the video, because I always like to end on that. Because we all need to heal, and by healing, I mean regaining our sensitivity, because this desensitization is becoming very real.
Because you say, like, they're bombing tents again, they're burning people alive again. People are so desensitized to these atrocities that just saying that they're doing it again is not registering.
And that's the point, right? We're supposed to be desensitized, then we can normalize it. And then I can be like, oh, I saw 6 burned babies today, and now I have to go to work.
So let's go
Boots, moving up and down again.
back to what Sasha was talking about, the video games being a gateway towards desensitization. I mean, they're fun to play because playing is fun, of course, but they're also a fun way to familiarize the player, i.e. future soldier, with war and life in the army. And it normalizes things like occupation and invasion. Did you see that shot that went viral on Twitter of an Israeli soldier in Gaza wearing a face covering similar to the Ghost character from Call of Duty? This is the gamification of Israel and US's colonial adventures in our land.
So how old is that mask, though?
Also,
As old as Modern Warfare 2, I'd say. Yeah.
Also, it
Is
has to
older,
do with
though?
the same thing.
'Cause
That,
I would
like,
think it's older.
Well, I
it
don't
has-
know if it has origins somewhere else, but that's what popularized it.
It has the same thing to do with people like cops wearing the Punisher mask, which is so funny. It's so silly.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like people find
Cops
a
hate
cool.
Frank.
Yeah, yeah. People just find like a cool character that's like, oh well, I'm also going to occupy someone's land, so I'm going to also wear this cool mask. Like they relate themselves with these characters, and it has less to do with it being from a popular media, or no, it has everything to do with it being from popular media, and less to do with it just being from a video game. Like, this is what we see with like the Punisher stuff. This is what we see with like Captain America's shield. This is what we see with like the Z logo for zombies being used by the Russians because comrade, it looks very good like this.
Yeah, so it's symbology, which is a part of cultural expression.
Yeah, so he's sort of reflecting that it is from a video game. That is true, and in that video game you are playing someone that so it's worn by Ghost, right? From Price or which one?
Ghost is from Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
But was he wearing that mask?
Yes. Yeah. Or he was wearing something similar.
Full mask.
Okay. Well, does this character like go to the Middle East and have conflict there?
No, I think all of Ghost's operations are in Siberia.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting to me. I think this is more so that like he's wearing it because it's like, oh, this is a cool mask from a video game that I played, and less to do with it. Yeah, and less to do with like, oh, I'm going to wear this because I am going to kill brown people, which he's doing that. He
also have to
not the character.
I think you also have to take into account that it's a cool looking mask.
Yeah,
it is.
They knew what they were doing when they made him. They cooked.
Yeah, they cooked.
The Israeli army were showing up to war wearing Spider-Man masks. I would get it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Specifically, I think 2099 one is the one I'm like. That one's the coolest one.
Yeah, the one worn by the Mexican guy. The Israeli army.
I'll just say he's Jewish. Manuel. Now he's gonna be Mahalam.
Oh, it would be in character. That's for sure.
You're telling me I get to kill brown people? Shalom.
Oh man, I was specifically referring to Manuel's character from Across the Spider-Verse, where he's just like, you have to let people die to save the multiverse. You see, it's for the greater good.
Yeah,
I was doing it because I thought he wanted to kill Miguel. Or not Miguel, he wanted to kill, what's his name?
Miles.
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 No.
Well, he didn't want to
stop Miles from leaving their little facility so that he could save his dad.
He wanted to stop Miles from escaping the open-air prison. He is Israeli.
Which is funny because Miles already had like the death in his family that created his Spider-Man. It was his uncle.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oh no, is Across the Spider-Verse bad? Yes.
Yes.
It's definitely incomplete. Hopefully the third movie will save it, but that way of thinking did not help Star Wars. So.
I don't think that the kinds of issues that are in Across the Spider-Verse are the sequel will explain it kind. Like that is just
like it's a continuity error,
yeah. It's just they forgot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are not discussing Into the Spider-Verse. We're discussing, in this case,
this is relevant.
It is. I mean, it's a side tangent, but it is still relevant.
Yeah.
So.
In either case, Hamoud is right. We should, circle back to things because this video is fucking long enough as it is.
Yeah.
The Pro-Palestinian, the Fakistinian, the people, they never had the land. The Neverland. It's a Neverland. Cool.
No one says that, but yes. My favorite thing, by the way, is seeing how Israelis, when you confront them with what's happening in Palestine, act like this is nothing. Always with the LOLs. When you tell them, oh, but children are dying.
Like Nux Taku?
Oh, wow. Like they're almost acting like they don't care to convince themselves that they don't care.
She just finished the military now. Yeah.
No way. How many How many you arrest? How many you would arrest?
I killed so many. Oh my god. I killed so many. Yeah, recording that, please.
Bro name drops himself. Wild.
It gets worse, by the way, because there were Telegram pages dedicated to those babies that were burned. Remember how they were telling us over a year and a half ago that there were burned Israeli babies that turned out to be fake? Well, we have pictures of Palestinian babies that are being burned all the time. And there was a Telegram page of Israelis laughing.
Yeah, and that's evil, but this isn't...
Most normal Israeli is chat, by the way. That's their most normal stuff.
Like, look at this soldier who's talking about who lost his leg in Gaza.
But anyway, the point I was gonna make was, yeah, this is evil shit, you know, but
I still
this
wouldn't
isn't video
paint.
games. Like
Yeah,
as an avid gamer,
that's
I
just-
see absolutely no connection between haha cooked babies and
Yeah, that's
like
that is just evil.
You don't
Like,
remember that
that-
mission in Assassin's Creed?
No,
oh yeah, no,
not
I
at
forgot
all.
about the fucking microwaved fetus in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't in the Animus. You did it as Desmond.
Oh, that's right, and he's white enough to get away with it. That was the whole, you know, that was the whole point of the series. I forgot.
Desmond, more like Desmahal.
My goodness.
הייתי בשביעי לעשירי.
מה למדת על החיים?
חיים יפים.
כן?
תהנה מהם, מה? בלי רגל, עם רגל. שטויות.
מה החלום?
I really hate
לשים
you,
פה חצובה,
Jesus.
עם מג, להיכנס לעזה, להרוג את כולם. את כולם להרוג. זה החלום.
בהצלחה.
תודה רבה.
Good luck. Garbage society, garbage.
Based.
Imagine if the situation was flipped. Imagine in Iraq, for example. Let's put Palestine aside. Let's go to Iraq, which was decimated for no reason whatsoever. Imagine someone from Iraq who lost his legs, went on TV and says, my wish is to put a tripod with a rifle, go empty it, kill all Americans. People would be like, this is terror. But this guy is allowed to say that he wants to kill everyone in Gaza. Because he's not even just talking about Hamas. He wants to kill everyone there.
להיכנס לעזה, להרוג את כולם. את כולם להרוג.
Even the way he's talking, it's like it's a game, right? Like it's almost like an Xbox controller. Speaking of which, by the way, that's coming up later.
That
The
is a
connection
reach.
between Xbox controllers.
Yeah,
That was the most retarded thing I've ever seen anyone do.
Again,
Yeah,
I would not I would not paint video games even still as the sole cause of the because
My
this
issue
is
with
like
this guy.
Go
Go
on.
ahead, go ahead. Actually, no, go ahead. I'll finish when you're done.
like I would not paint that like that. That's just evil. You have people like that everywhere you look. Someone's gonna have a platform doing that. Is that everybody? Hell no. It like I forgot where I was going with this. Crap. Someone help me out.
I don't know where you were going.
Yeah,
with
me
that.
neither. I will
Like-
say, I guess, to add on to that, I've seen a lot of Israelis talking about the whole situation with Gaza, and overwhelmingly, they seem to hate Gazans specifically.
Mhm.
However, there are a few that are very much against, like, not just like the violence that's happening, but against the war in and of itself, like any kind of conflict. So we are painting a pretty broad stroke here,
Yeah,
which
like,
kind of bordering on racism, my guy. Now it is disturbing how like common this is, absolutely.
Mhm.
And if he was to like if we had him in the room here, and he was to say, oh well, obviously I don't mean all, I just mean like because it's so common. You know, it's so easy to just say, you know, it a certain way as like a shorthand, then, you know, it's like, well, sure, fine. That's a trap that most people fall into in everyday conversation. But, you know, I'm not a fan of racism, and I'm gonna call it out wherever I see it. You know, and
like that.
Also, we have to understand that like a lot of Israeli society has normalized this.
Yeah,
Israel,
absolutely.
okay, you have to understand what
Mhm.
Israel is. Israel is a settler colonial state. the majority of the population of Israel are not native to Israel. Can we understand that? Like, we have Ashkenazim. What does that mean? It means Eastern European Jews. We have Sephardim. What does that mean? It means Jews from the Iberian Peninsula. We have Mizrahi. What does that mean? That means Jews from the Middle East. What do we not have? Palestinim, Jews from Palestine. Because they already exist. They're Palestinians.
You said Palestinian. Is that where the Bible got Philistine from?
Yes, actually, yes.
It's the localization of is
Oh wow!
Yes,
I had
same
no
thing
idea.
with the Phoenicians. The Poinica, Phoenicia, that was more Lebanon, but also that went into the area of modern-day Palestine. So this idea that you have this settler colonial regime that is built off of putting one group above another one, and that has essentially created itself off of removing the majority of the native people that were living there, it's going to be a society that treats those native peoples with extreme hostility. We see that to this day, where Israel, to this day, has apartheid levels of isolation, I guess, between these two different groups. They have a fucking wall that's built around Palestinian cities in their own land that they built around, and that they designated, this is for Arabs, this is for Jews, in Palestinian cities like Ramallah and Bethlehem, which is Bethlehem, by the way, for everyone here who's Christian, which is exactly 3 of you. So
what?
I'm not Christian.
Who's Christian?
Oh, my bad. 2.
I'm not Christian either.
Oh wow! So that in this case, but maybe some of our viewers are.
Who the fucking here is Christian?
Yeah, like
holy base.
You aren't you?
I was raised Christian.
Yeah, I was raised Christian. What? I was raised Christian.
Back. That doesn't mean that I believe that it's true.
Yeah,
that's my bad. That's on me. I assumed you guys were.
Wait, I could swear you said you were Christian.
See, this is what you get when you assume shit. You make an ass out of yourself, man.
I was not prepared for Rogar to start doing a voice. I thought someone else who I hadn't known was in the call was talking. I was like, who the fuck is that?
All right, that's on me. But the point is that Bethlehem also has a huge that is very much apartheided. We have streets. Well, not me. I'm not Palestinian myself, but there are streets in these cities that are in Palestine that are designated between either Jews or Muslims. That is so fucked up, And this is the society that. Could you imagine that the society is going to say anything positive about the people that they are oppressing? I can't imagine that, So it makes sense to me that, the majority of this society engages in this kind of behavior because it's so normalized. The society needs to have that behavior in order to function, because as soon as you start treating like Arabs, in this case, Arabs as equal to you, then you start being like, oh shit, why are we in their land? Why are we making cities in their territory? Why are we, putting them in these checkpoints for 20 hours? Why are we imprisoning their children? Why are we doing this? As soon as you find out that, as soon as you understand that, hey, wait a minute, Arabs are people too, this whole facade of Israeli supremacy just falls to bits.
The dickens, you say. The point is that it is never okay to be racist to anybody except the French.
Agreed. Wait.
That was so perfect.
It's amazing. That was amazing. Oh my god.
Audience member, clip that.
Oh, it was perfect.
Oh, and the other thing I was going to say was kind of just a reiterative point, because that's probably what most of this video is going to be. We're going to assume, for the sake of the argument, that the guy in the wheelchair wasn't being sarcastic and wasn't telling a joke, and that he's actually just an evil person who wants to kill everybody. Again, not video games. Everyone here is a gamer. The way he said that, granted, I don't know their language, so maybe it's different over there. But he didn't sound like he was talking about a video game, because people generally get pretty excited when they're talking about video games. He spoke like matter of fact, as if it's just, oh, that's just Tuesday, or like, oh, the sun rises, you know?
You ever played Racism Simulator 2025?
No, I played the 2024 version, though.
It's Game of the Year.
Sorry, Hamoud, go on.
Yeah, so this guy is I think is very, I can confidently say that he's Palestinian, or if he's not Palestinian, he is adjacent Arab. And I think he's using a lot, because like I agree with like a lot of like portrayals of how Israeli society is from all of my depictions and from my encounters with a friend that we know. You're gonna cut that. You're gonna cut that. You're gonna cut that. You're gonna cut that. You're gonna cut that.
Jesus!
You're gonna cut that. 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 My bad. Trisket. That's your name. That's your name.
Correct.
Trisket.
It is not the N-word. Do not call.
Every time he says Trisket, just flash a box of Triscuits on the screen.
Okay. Yeah. Due to a friend of ours, I would say I have a fairly good understanding of it, and from what it looks like, it is based on a lot of this like negative portrayal of for example, Arabs. And he's showing that, but he's just unable to connect it really well. So he has these really bad segues. It's like almost like an ad read. How bad the segue is. It's like, oh, buddy, you're so close. You're so close, but buddy, come on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, yeah, it's
games and how they're used in tanks. Wait till you hear about this. But basically, for Israeli and American soldiers, their enemy is nothing but a number that just pops up. And this turns the brutalization against brown bodies into a game. All of the American and Israeli adventures in our part of the world become a game. And look at these countless TikToks of people around the world just wearing also that ghost face from Call of Duty. It just,
because it looks cool, bro.
A game. When you see this, it becomes impossible to ignore the role these kind of games play in shaping how many in the West view this war. Who the heroes and villains are. Whose lives matter.
Okay, Rogar, I'm gonna give you a second to fix that.
And whose lives are expendable. Take, for example, one of the main villains in Call of Duty. His name is Khalid al-Assad, who appeared in the first Modern Warfare released in 2007 and was rebooted along with the franchise. And his backstory changed so that he's from a fictional Arabic country called Urzikstan. More about that portrayal of the entire Arab world as some fictional land later. For now, let's focus on the roots of this Arab character, Khalid al-Assad.
Khalid al-Assad was born on May 1st, 1963, and he was born in Saudi Arabia. The name of Khalid al-Assad may be a front, as intel from the CIA suggests that his real name isn't actually known.
Nice hit. What's his name?
We don't know, but he's got friends in high places.
The information that we do have suggests that al-Assad was imprisoned for many, many years. And during this imprisonment, his hatred for world superpowers and the West grew tremendously. His hatred made him the perfect candidate to replace Omar Suleiman, who was assassinated in a raid back in 2019, leaving his organization Al-Qatala in need of a new and vicious leader. And al-Assad would take over Al-Qatala and rename it Al-Qatala Al-Jadid.
By the way, Qatala, this vicious group that he belongs to, Qatala means killers in Arabic. Did you notice how the logo of Qatala is very similar to the ISIS logo? Which, by the way, something interesting about the ISIS logo,
Did you say the Arxis logo or the ISIS?
No. Let him cook. I like this point.
No. What is the word that he used?
He said ISIS. He said ISIS.
Yeah, he's just saying Yeah. Because in Arabic we have the
by someone who doesn't speak Arabic. Allah Rasul Muhammad. It's supposed to be Muhammad Rasulullah. It's supposed to be, and Muhammad is God's prophet. But it's actually written, Allah is Muhammad's prophet. So this logo of ISIS was not written by someone who understands Arabic. Let's just say that. But anyway, the logo of Qatala and Call of Duty.
The fuck are you implying?
I think he knows. He knows what he's implying.
Well, I know. He knows what he's implying, but
he knows
what
he's
is he implying?
Yeah, it reads like a nothing burger.
Oh, I'm sure. If you don't want to read into it, it reads like a nothing burger. But I know what he's implying.
The thing is,
reading
into it doesn't paint a good picture.
Yeah. Also, it's been a while since I've looked into this. I don't know what he's implying here. I genuinely don't know. Like what's the deal here?
A lot of okay, so in terms of like ISIS, ISIL, like these organizations, that organization in particular, a lot of their attacks are against, like, for example, they killed off a huge percentage of the Free Syrian Army, which was, you know, the democratic guys who wanted to, you know, get rid of Assad's regime. They killed them. Then they specifically apologized for an attack on Israel, which for an organization that's all about this whole, oh, it must be jihad, you know, like that whole thing. For you to do that is just kind
that's
of,
a little
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean though. I see what you mean.
Yeah, and how, especially when you look at the flag where it says something as, like, and for these guys to be quote unquote fundamentalists, for them to have a flag that is probably the most like Saudi Arabian behead worthy piece of blasphemy is hilarious. So, yeah, no, I know what he's implying, and I have no comments.
So there, in Arabic, there isn't a word for is.
What?
Like, so I'm guessing
No,
because
it's
like
a
that's just three.
suffix.
That's just 3 words. It's not like, you know, saying, like in English you would say Muhammad is God's prophet. Like
Muhammadur Rasulullah. So Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Muhammad is the name. Okay. Muhammadur Rasulullah, which means Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the messenger of God. Rasulullah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. That when you say that. In this flag, the flag, if I remember correctly, I can't see it right now, but it was saying like Allahu Rasulul Muhammad, which is the exact opposite. That's saying God is the messenger of Muhammad, which is like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it's a suffix thing. It's a suffix
Okay,
thing.
okay.
So like Muhammadur Rasulullah, you know, we have the R.
Okay,
Echoing
okay.
again,
That makes more sense. Like I don't speak Arabic.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a second.
I didn't even realize that until I looked at this. I was like, "Oh my god, bro, what the?"
Yeah,
That's so
I don't
goofy.
have an explanation for that. My best guess would be that these guys aren't actually fundamentalists. It's just that's just their best cover for being anarchists, and they're too much of a
Either
pussy
that,
to
but the
actually
thing
take
is,
on any
they
real
know
power.
Arabic. These guys know Arabic. They're from like Syria. They're from Iraq. Those are Arab-speaking nations. They know Arabic. So why then is their flag such bad Arabic and just blatant blasphemy?
Yeah, that is weird.
I mean that. Yeah. It's like, okay, so it's like, you know, we're Americans, right? And it's like me saying that, like, what would be? Oh, the Constitution promised God. Like, what does that mean? Like that has no meaning. It is like if I had on a big flag that, you know, America is above all, the Constitution is or the God is from the Constitution. That's sort of like what is being written here. It's like, well, what does this mean?
That is curious.
I don't know. I live in the South. You'd be surprised.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. I will say I still don't like what he's insinuating. Now, again, had he just left it at no idea what that means, that is a strange thing for an, you know, like a actual like Arab speaker to write down or say, you know, and like point that stuff out like the way you did, then it's like, huh, yeah, that is a good point. But then like there was, you can tell in the way he said it, there was an accusation. There was absolutely an accusation, but he's not saying who he's accusing. So it's like, come on, buddy, man the fuck up and say what you want to say. Like, we're not going to, because this is a entertainment podcast. You know, we're here to talk about video games. And so that's why I put like a moratorium on the, delving too deep into the politics for this episode. Because again, firstly, this is entertainment. Second, this video is long enough. But like here, it's like, buddy, you repeat yourself so goddamn much that I know for a fact you don't give a shit about the video being too long. What are you trying to say? I know you want to say it, so say it. Does anybody have any issues with how I've taken that? Or...
I mean,
no, I agree. I agree.
No, because like
I think we can move on.
my okay, so this is the first time that I looked at the flag itself and realized this, because looking at it now, it's just so blatant. It's like, oh my god, that is what is this? But like my previous stuff was based on like previous knowledge, and I don't think that he really focused on that. I think he just has like broad basic ideas of like what could happen or what could be the reason of it. He just has nothing to like besides this to really substantiate that. So I think he has like an idea of like who could be responsible, but he just has no further proof. So it is a bit more like a nothing burger accusation, but also it is enough to leave a little, thought in your head that
Then why doesn't he just say it?
No, because he doesn't have any proof besides this. It's like me just saying, Rogar, because you like Aminate, you must be a pedo. Like, that's sort of the thing, Like, it's like, well, a lot of people that do like anime are indeed this, but I have nothing to say that you are, and by the way, Rogar, I'm not, like...
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
A more apt thing, you could have gone... because you could have said because you are black, you were therefore a drug dealer.
Sure, yeah,
you could have just
exactly.
said that. But like, I understand. Like a stronger thing would have been to just go with that. But I see what you mean.
So he doesn't have enough proof to like really drive out an accusation, but I think he does want people to know that it is very strange.
Right.
We also don't have enough proof to support that Rogar's black.
Yeah, Lord knows how much proof I needed to find out that you weren't.
I think Trisket has seen my face.
You didn't need any, I just said it.
Yeah.
You didn't find out shit. Nigga, do I sound black?
Well, when you say it like that, yeah, a little.
Yeah, we went over this. We went over this. I can't go back.
I ain't going back. You can't make me go back. I thought I was out.
They put me back in.
They just pull me back in. As soon as I get out, they pull me back in.
But yeah, like if he knows that he doesn't have anything, then why is he so like hostile when he's saying it? Why not just say, which is very strange, and just sort of leave it at that, let you think about that, ruminate, and be like, huh, that is weird.
I feel like he sort of did that just with a bit more accusatorially.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, like, the problem.
I feel like it's a bit more of a nitpick. Like, I mean, we understand what he's saying.
But, like, it is a nitpick, but depending on what the answer is, that could completely change the coloration of how this video is supposed to be taken.
Yeah, but we don't know the answer, and I doubt he knows
I know,
it as
and
well, so that's why
it's bugging me.
That's one of the reasons why I'm like, why not just say it outright? Like,
no, but then once again we have that issue where it's like, if it's completely wrong, then like he'll be outed for being completely wrong, and he just, I think that he.
Well, then don't put the accusation in your tone. Just say it in a different tone. It's literally that easy.
Yeah, like you don't like you could just.
I think he wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too.
That's the problem.
But wait a minute, eating cake is the entire point of having it in the first place.
Which, yeah, I mean that's true.
What am I gonna get? Am I gonna go get some cake and then not eat it? I don't.
Yeah.
I am a native English speaker, and I do not understand this phrase.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, not
Where
gonna
does
lie.
it
All right,
come from? Who
I'm
made
gonna
it?
play. I
Why?
feel like we all have the basic understanding of what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna.
Oh,
Play.
It's
yeah,
written by
no,
someone who
but-
doesn't speak
but-
Arabic. The goal is to keep conflating the war on terror with Palestine and Palestinians. By the way, when Israel and US officials use the words war on terror to justify what happens against Palestinians, they're not being deceptive. This isn't hypocrisy or doublespeak. When they say the genocide in Gaza is defensive and justified, they mean it. When they say that the killing of over 1 million babies in Iraq over a decade of sanctions was worth it, they mean it. They're not saying one thing and meaning another. These are their values. And actually, someone by the name of Shahid Bolson says this beautifully. Let's listen to him. Or let's listen to me playing.
I agree with that.
I
agree with that.
I'm not so sure because like
No, because like the whole idea that like, oh well, we need to go around and kill terrorists. Well, their idea of a terrorist is someone that essentially disagrees with them politically. It doesn't have to be someone that look in terms of Saddam. Like
If
he
you're
did not
talking-
have.
If you're talking in terms of like modern times, then yeah, sure. I can see your
I'm
point.
not using the denotative definition. I'm using the connotative one. Because I was called a terrorist, does that mean I'm a terrorist?
No.
It's exactly it's like that, where it's like this word is used to describe, and in my opinion, it's used to describe anyone that disagrees politically, rather fundamentally with imperialism. For example, with Saddam. Saddam didn't have any airstrikes on like American facilities, but he was still deemed a terrorist because
well, yeah, because George Bush is a piece of shit. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, no, but also that like his whole ideology was against imperialism. So we're justifying that, and then the people that fought for Iraq's liberation from American forces were also deemed terrorists or insurgents, when their only insurgency was against an occupying nation. These words have to me they have no more meaning, because I've been so used to those words that it just means, oh, terrorist, oh, you're referring to a brown person, okay. That's just what it means to me now. It has no meaning. And that is a direct result of the way that it was used in these political situations. Calling Saddam a terrorist, calling the people that were on Saddam's side terrorists, calling for example the Palestinian Liberation Front terrorism, when that's a political ideology. With Iraq, the government at the time was indeed the Taliban, so calling them terrorists is well, no, that was the organization.
Did you mean
that was
Afghanistan?
Yeah, my bad. That was the government. So unless you want
to
call
be fair,
an
you can have a
entire
terrorist government. Just look at what's happening right now.
Yeah, sure, and that because a terrorist, in terms of the denotative, we could even look that up right now.
Mm-hmm.
The denotative is. My bad. Just give me a bit.
Should I let this play while you find that?
So, a terrorist, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit for political aims.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh, damn
there's
it.
that. And so, if we have something that's attacking a military facility, is that then also terrorism?
No,
it's just...
military is not civilian.
Yeah, exactly. But then when we see, for example, Iraqis fighting against American soldiers, they are deemed as terrorists when their only target is American soldiers.
Yeah, and that's why that's why the Iraq War is a stain on the American memory.
No, but not only that,
for most
but
of
it's
us,
also
at least in my experience.
It's also this idea that terrorist is also synonymous with brown person or Muslim, especially in the connotative sense.
Yeah, and that's an idea that I personally will fight against, but I don't think that it's unfair to say that Al-Qaeda are terrorists, specifically Islamic terrorists, because their motivations are largely religious, and they killed thousands of people that didn't deserve it. So
yes, but then
but then to turn around and say, oh, Saddam Hussein, yeah, bad guy, but to say that he's a terrorist and everyone working for him is a terrorist, it's like, that's not necessarily true. So yeah, we didn't.
Yeah,
need
but
to be
then
there.
also let's look in terms of like the Americans. So a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians. So we have accounts of American Marines like opening fire at Iraqi weddings. Would they be considered terrorists? According to The Hague, yes. According to the American government, no.
I have not heard about that. I feel like I need more
I mean-
context. Like
Yep,
if they just
okay.
randomly started shooting at a married couple, then yes, absolutely. I have no idea what the actual context for that is though, so I'm not sure.
Okay, I believe it's the Mukaradib. Yes. Okay. So this is the Mukaradib wedding party massacre. So this is a massacre that happened in Anbar over in Iraq on the 19th of May, 2004. This attack killed 42 civilians and wounded many others. And this attack was on a known wedding, so they did know that there was going to be there. Started at 3 a.m. So they suspected that it was a foreign fighter safe house. However, upon American troops reaching that location, they discovered zero evidence of any kind of, foreign attack agency or anything like that. And instead, they discovered that the people that they killed were in fact wedding guests. So is that an act of terrorism if you kill civilians in
By
this way?
definition, yes. By definition,
Well,
it
like
would be.
if you blatantly
However,
and intentionally, then yeah, I would say so.
yeah.
Oh, actually, we have the Mahmoudiya rape and killings in 2006, where 5 U.S. Army soldiers gang raped and murdered a 14-year-old Iraqi girl alongside her entire family.
Yeah, those guys
Is
are
that
monsters.
terrorism? Wait, so
Those
if
guys
these
are-
guys committed an act of terror, does that mean the entire American army are
Was it-
terrorists?
Was it sanctioned by the government?
Well,
Probably
yeah,
not.
therein lies the difference. Is the acceptance by said faction as opposed to it just being an act of terror.
So if a organization, so for example, let's talk about the Taliban. Okay, so if the Taliban does not accept responsibility and says that like, oh, these people were, they, do not follow our interests and they were, a different group, does that make them no longer terrorists because they disowned the people that did that attack?
I would say, for the sake of fairness and trying to keep the peace, yes. But if that is a pattern of behavior, then then they might just be covering their asses. Like that's
Yeah, but then we see this pattern of behavior with American and Israeli troops. So are they then just covering their asses as well? You see how this how this becomes such a such a weird, almost like not a non-issue. This just becomes like there's no way for you to like affect terrorists. Doesn't mean anything anymore, because every army in most, especially in the modern world, does this. I mean, Ukraine just launched a massive attack.
Yeah,
Ukraine launched a massive drone attack on Russia that did harm civilians.
Mhm.
Does that make them a terrorist organization now?
Were the civilians their targets?
Yeah. Were the civilians their targets?
No, but that's not what the definition was talking about. The definition specifically said, if I want to go back, especially against civilians.
Yeah, which
not
means to
only
target them.
the keyword especially.
Yes, which means to target.
That means that implies the civilians being a target.
No, the keyword is especially, which means that like it's not only them.
The issue with that is that.
So what designates an act of war versus an act of terrorism? And the idea is civilians, right?
Yeah.
But then we just talked about, for example, Israel blew up multiple hospitals. 94% of the hospitals in Gaza are destroyed, are bombed to pieces. Are those acts of terrorism?
I would say yes.
Yes.
All right. Then when we look at the Muqaddam wedding massacre, is that an act of terrorism?
If it was intentional and is part of a consistent pattern of behavior, then yes.
Whether or not it was intentional, a weapon was still used to attack civilians. Is that then, how does that change the definition?
Because if it's an accident, then you didn't mean to hurt them.
Yeah.
Therefore, it wasn't an act of terror. It was just a terrible thing that happened.
What defines as an accident?
Whether or not you meant to do it, like what?
No. But what does that mean? Did you accidentally press the button? In this case, it's like, okay, that's acceptable. But if you had
like in the case, we misidentified, like we read the wrong coordinates and we ended up killing 14 innocent people instead of blowing up a compound full of people with guns.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one example.
Right, but then if that was done by, for example, let's say the Taliban, is that an attack of terror?
Again, it's all about intent.
Exactly. There's just so much here where it's like, what defines these words? These words have, they end up having no meaning.
Yeah,
to a point,
I'm fine with saying that the American government has absolutely abused the term. I'm fine with saying that.
The main, like we were trying to say, the main thing is intent here. Like, did the government, sanction this? Was this like a thing they told them to do? Probably not. Especially in the case of this, what was it, a wedding massacre?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would not.
And they knew it was a wedding massacre. They had intel that it was indeed a wedding that was happening at this location.
I read in the Wikipedia article that there were guns fired into the air. So
have you seen Iraqi weddings? Have you seen Yemeni weddings?
Let me ask: the soldiers or the soldiers involved in this, or the people residing over them?
If I remember correctly, I believe Muqaddam was a drone strike with soldiers coming in after.
It was a bombing, yes.
Versus Al Haditha, which was like soldiers on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have been prosecuted, by the way. They're still up and around, living in the United States of America.
Okay, if that's true, they should be prosecuted because they committed a war crime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't believe America, or at least Trump, even said that he would invade the Hague if they prosecuted any Americans or Israelis, for that matter, for war crimes.
God, that's so...
Yeah, lots of stuff. But that was my piece. I feel like we should continue now.
They are acting on their values with consistency and continuity. Committing massacres against innocent civilians does not trouble their conscience, any more than you stepping on a bug troubles your conscience. They don't see anything to feel guilty about. They feel that they've done something good. You have to understand this, because if you don't, you will severely and dangerously underestimate their danger. And you'll make the fatal mistake of believing that you can ever appeal to their sense of morality, that you can ever appeal to their conscience. And you'll make the catastrophic mistake of trusting them, or trusting their intentions. And wallahi, there are tens of millions of their victims crying out from their graves, telling you not to trust them. Just like someone watching a horror movie and shouting at the screen, telling the main character, don't go down that dark alley. If you could hear the voices of their millions of victims, they would tell you exactly what's going to happen to you if you listen to them and if you trust them. If you're Muslim, or you're not white, or you're not rich, you need to recognize that they have zero moral hesitation about killing you. Yes, whether you live outside of America or whether you live inside of America, it's the same to them. The worst thing you can do is ever underestimate this reality. Listen, just like with an individual, you can learn what their values are by what their actions are.
the fuck is this?
I do
I mean,
not
that
know.
was me cosplaying, obviously, in this whole devout Muslim getup, right? And this is something I've been experimenting with in theater around Amsterdam. I'm doing small bits where I use drag to explore this identity that people are scared of here in the West.
Oh
get it,
god,
you're
he's
gay.
a queer.
We get it. You're gay. I don't care.
I like how all of you guys have more of a problem than I do. Like,
No, I don't have a problem
It's
with
not that
it.
I,
It's
it's
just
not that I have a
weird.
problem with it. I just don't care.
Yeah, I don't have a
Like-
problem with the societal poison.
Jesus Christ.
Is Lord.
I'm talking about the fucking video. But anyway.
I start the performance with like funny drag with the big tits, ha ha ha, but I'm joke. And then I take off the wig and the tits and there's a keffiyeh, and then I slowly take everything off and I start putting on this outfit that you just saw. And the beautiful thing about that is that putting on this beard requires...
Wouldn't that technically be haram?
It doesn't matter in his case. I don't know if he's Muslim. Like, it doesn't apply to him.
So if he's not Muslim, does it make it more or less offensive that he's
I don't care.
wearing
He can
the
do whatever
skin
he
of more
wants to do.
people underneath a dramatically enhanced women costume?
He can do whatever he wants to do. I don't care.
Oh.
I have no like moral like obligation. I mean, like would I personally do this? No. But like he's his own person. He's living in Amsterdam. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. Like I don't care.
I agree. People in Amsterdam do whatever the hell they want to do.
For real.
It's by the crime rate
requires
is so
some
high.
time for
My name's
requires some
Thane.
time for putting on glue. So as I'm talking about embracing my identity as an Arab man and how that requires me to deal with like inner shame I have about it, about the looks that I would get. So the glue is drying and I'm telling the story, and finally the reveal is that I glue on this thick beard, and seeing what effect it has on the people, especially when you start the show really funny and then you just throw this out there and they're like, "Arr."
These are the moments that make life worth living.
Speaking of performing, that's why I've been away for so long, because I was ending the tour.
Who can tell me what that was from?
I'm thinking some Adams fan. I know I've seen enough clips that I know where it's from. But
Death Becomes Her.
oh, is it? Okay.
Yep. Dean Kundi filmed that.
Oh, I met him.
You met Dean Kundi?
Yeah, I met him. I met Roger Deakins. I met the guy that shot Blade. Not Blade Runner. Fight Club.
With my previous show, and also developing this new material, because I got funding to start researching this new stuff and putting together a team of mentors. So I've been doing that.
So, what funding did you need for this research? Because if you just sat down and played the video games yourselves, then sure, fair enough. Video games cost money, but he had to get a team of people and had to pay them, I guess. Now, I don't know how these interviews work exactly. I would imagine some people may ask for money if you're gonna like interview them or whatever, but
If they're mega celebrities, maybe. If they're like the people that he's interviewing, that it's just know them and ask them for an interview and you get an interview. I've done this before.
Yeah.
Like
like I
the
haven't
people
done it
that
for a
I've
video,
had
but I've
interviews
done
where
it.
they have like millions of stuff. So it's like, yeah, no, you just talk to the right people.
Yeah.
So
So
I just feel like he said before that he had like 5 weeks of research when I think he's overplaying the amount of, he did do a lot of research, like a lot of this well researched,
Mhm.
regardless if like the conclusions are sane or not. But there is some stuff where it's like, yeah, no, I feel like you're just
you cut out.
like he
you
does
said
all
he's
the-
just what?
oh, lying.
Oh,
like a lot of the research that he's like with the games, he doesn't mention like if he okay, I understand him not wanting to play games, sure, like I guess video games are not for everyone,
Mhm.
but you could still Wikipedia something, dude, like at least do that so that you know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe here's the thing: don't talk about video games. Maybe ask someone who you know who has to do that for you.
Yes, almost exactly that. Like if he was just talking about what was happening in Palestine with this video, 100% he has a lot of research on it. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. But then when he's trying to connect it to video games, like, you are not the person to talk about this. I appreciate you do talking about this. People need to talk about this more often. I really do appreciate this, but you just don't have all the stuff, you know?
Yeah,
like
and it makes
maybe he should have worked with other people. He should have worked like Arab video game content creators. Like, there are so many of them. So
many of which he mentions in this goddamn video.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
features,
and
but they
because-
don't have a say.
And because he,
work with them, talk with them.
the issue is because he does it the way he does, it comes out foggy.
Yeah, which
it's-
throws shade on all the shit that he actually like is correct on. It's like when you are
Yeah.
this, I'm gonna be honest, because he doesn't play video games and misrepresents them so much, it comes across as disingenuous. I don't know if he means to be or not, but when you're this, for lack of a better word, disingenuous, it throws shade on everything else that you are talking about. So you're actually, in a sense, hurting your cause more than any number of missiles ever could. Because the missiles are at least making martyrs. You're just being wrong. That's horrible to say, but am I wrong?
Because, like you said, it casts doubt over what you're saying, and that's like it's just reading as he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's been going on, and also
I am sad all the time. Even when I'm happy. It's just like everything you do now. You're also sad. I could be out having fun and laughing and being and I am genuinely feeling joy, but I am also really fucking sad.
And I've also been doing a lot of
Relatable,
coaching. Well, not a lot.
especially-
I have like
especially
5 or
with,
6
what's
creatives that I'm
happened.
working with, but that also requires time, and those sessions have been amazing. Because, by the way, with the people that I'm coaching, we can talk about Palestine till we're blue in the face. Even with my friends, whom I love very much, like, you can tell people get tired of talking about Palestine or hearing about it, or they need breaks, and that makes you sometimes isolate from people, and it's a whole thing. But with the people that I've been coaching, we're just
So,
like...
am I the only one that's like weirded out by this weird editing that he does, where when he pauses, he has the
It's a
audio
cut,
of the
yeah.
next clip contine?
Yeah.
Instead
and-
of
and
just
then-
cutting to the next clip, he like every single one is like a reverse L cut, or is it an L cut?
yeah,
A
it's
reverse L cut? That would be called a J cut.
Jake, thank you.
it's not the editing. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It's kind of jarring. Like that means that the video is better to listen to when he's on screen, which really hurts a lot of the visuals that are actually helping him.
Yeah.
Why are you suddenly being the one who's pedantic about people's editing? That's all I bring to this show.
Buddy, I edit my own videos. You know
My brother in Christ. My brother in
Yes,
Christ. you
and I'm
could be me
pedantic
and-
about how you do it.
My brother in Christ. You could be me and not bring anything. So
That's not true. That is not true. You bring so much value to this team, all right? You get to be the guy that we wave in front of the audience to say we're not racist.
Going in on Palestine, because obviously, yeah, they approach me because they're going through the same thing that I'm going through. And so we're working on their projects, be it music or writing, and it's all centered around Palestine. So that's been amazing. And if you want a piece of that, by the way, you can check out my website. And now let's get back to the video. I mentioned earlier that character Khalid al-Assad, one of the main villains in modern warfare. He's a Saudi Arabian native who becomes the leader of a revolutionary group known as OPFOR. It's never clear where OPFOR is based, or if the organization has official ties to any specific country in the real world. And this vaguely Arab location in video games is akin to
Well, that's mainly because in the original Modern Warfare, they were trying to basically do a simulation of the aesthetics rather than commentate on current geopolitical stuff. Because commentating on current geopolitical stuff would hurt Activision's bottom line. And hell, we saw what happened with 6 Days in Fallujah, which is another game that he mentions, which got completely canceled until 10 years later.
Yeah, they wanted to tell a story, not make a comment.
Yeah. Like, now, like, that does raise the question, should Activision, or other games for that matter, give an accurate recreation of current events, so as to better represent what's happening? And I would
Who would
say
want to fight
sure.
then? It's like the whole thing. I ain't gonna die for Israel. You give them a accurate representation. Be like, what? I'm not gonna get drafted even in the video game. Fuck that.
Yeah, so like I would say sure, but I understand for both monetary and narrative reasons why they don't. I'm not sure that I agree with it, but I don't know. It's kind of a complicated, messy thing, if I'm being honest. Because there's a lot you got to consider when you're in that kind of market, if I'm being completely honest.
Hollywood's yellow filter. Like, look at the opening shot of Netflix Extraction, which opens on a smoggy, jaundiced city. The film's beautiful and white star, of course, Chris Hemsworth, darts across the land, weapon in hand. By now, enough has been observed to understand that Mr. Hemsworth is somewhere in a developing country, and the particularity of that place is not essential. A more relevant, Palestine-centered example of the use of yellow filter is the Netflix series Fauda, an Israeli television series following an IDF commander. Again, the West Bank and Palestine, it's given this yellow, musty filter that has nothing to do with reality. The fact that a shitty Arab yellow country exists as a shorthand is already very telling of what the problem is. But
to be fair, they do that to pretty much every hot-ass place. Like,
yeah.
You know, they did it to Bangladesh in Extraction. They did it to, you know, Mexico and pretty much everything Mexico's in. Hell, they even, if I'm not mistaken, there's even a slight yellow filter over parts of Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah, parts.
Yeah,
No, specifically when they're in the Mexican. I want it. No, not the border. When they're in Mexico, they do it to emphasize the heat.
It's got a cute little tangerine orange kind of filter that colors the sand, the rocks.
Yeah.
And similarly, whenever something is set at night or in a cold place, they use blue because it's a cool color. Which
is meant to invoke the feeling of the temperature.
Yes, which is just going to show it's not about look at those shitty Arabs and their shitty countries. It's not even about look at all those poor people. It's about, hey, here's the temperature. We are trying to immerse the audience into, like, a feeling. Is there a bit of Orientalism that goes into that? Sure. I don't think that's the primary point, though.
Yeah.
Is it lazy or is it just what they're taught in school? What's the difference?
By the way, this shorthand did not exist organically. It was drilled into culture over and over again through movies and series and video games. Shitty yellow country inhabited by shitty people who are always wearing a keffiyeh. It was drilled until it was stuck in our subconscious, until it becomes something we don't question. The fear of the Palestinian man becomes something...
That guy on the right wasn't wearing a keffiyeh, he was wearing a balaclava. Big difference.
What happened? What happened? Let me go back just a little bit. He is wearing a keffiyeh.
Oh, the black one?
Oh wait, this guy right here?
No, the guy on the right. Actually, that is pretty baggy at the bottom. Maybe it is just a keffiyeh and it's like
the way
res.
he's wearing it is in like the sort of I call it bandit style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that is a keffiyeh.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I was wrong.
Until it was stuck in our subconscious, until it becomes something we don't question. The fear of the Palestinian man becomes something that happens in your body faster than you can think. Palestinian men are nothing but evil cave-dwelling terrorists. While we're on the subject
that
of
goes for
Palestinian men and
all
what they go through.
Yeah,
that goes for all Middle Eastern men. Like we are just seen as, you know, like I mean, women and children, of course, like they're always treated better. But like imagine you have a headline, 13. Like let's say any kind of Arab, just 13 Arab men killed versus 13 Arab men killed plus 5 women and 3 children, you're going to focus more on the women and children. And that's a common thing that I see. I mean, it's just a result of sort of like society, how men in general are just a bit more what's the word, seen as expendable, I guess that's the word. And it's even worse when it's like, not only that, but brown men. So you already have the crime of being brown, plus then you're a man. It's like, yeah, no, you are double worthless at that point. Which I felt that a little bit, but not a little bit. I felt that a lot in my years. So yeah, no, I completely relate to him wanting to talk about. It is something that we should talk about.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
why
no,
I
I
said like in the broader point of like should we portray this this region with like more fairness and accuracy in our media like in totality? Yeah, sure. I'm more than happy to do that because I would actually be quite happy to see that like even without the whole like war on terror and like all the Islamic hate that a lot of our country still displays. Like even without all that, I would still like to see that because I like seeing cultures being, properly shared and portrayed. It's just when it comes to video games specifically, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and his expertise is clearly not in the making of film, but in the being on screen part.
Right.
بنتي طولتها من الردم، طولتها من تحت الركام وهيك. هذه لعبة لولو بنتي كانت دائما حملاها. معلقن قدامي بقولها بونسني شوية عنهم. أنا هدول حطيتهم كمان عشان الزنان هذا اللي بتصور والطيران اللي بيقصف علينا يعرف إن إحنا أطفالنا هيهم.
But back to the video games. Recently, the teams behind Call of Duty attempted to give a more nuanced depiction of the Middle East. The Modern Warfare reboot centers on an Arab woman named Farah Karim, one of several playable protagonists.
To my knowledge, Farah is not Arab. She's Kurdish. She's sort of representing the Kurdish Women's Front, or not Women's Front. It may be the Kurdish Women's Front, but like it's the, I believe it's called the YPG, and they are Kurdish fighters. But yeah, so she's not even Arab.
My soldiers confirm that the hospital is under siege. Al-Qatala has taken civilians as human shields.
Farah survives a chemical attack in the opening act and leads her home country's...
No, not true, actually. She was a child, and that was in I think it was the middle or towards the end of the second act, actually. It was a flashback after she got knocked out. Actually, no. She was knocked out by a chemical attack because her brother, who had initiated the chemical attack, put a gas mask on her so that she would survive. It's still not the opening act, I don't think. I don't know. I'll have to replay the game.
Freedom fighters. Even her spoken Arabic is good.
ماشي. خبرني أعرف شو بصير.
Yet the problem persists. Farah comes from an entirely made-up Middle Eastern country called Urzikstan. All the other main characters have roots in real places, like Price is from the UK, Alex is an American, yet Farah is from a fictitious Middle Eastern place ravaged by war. A place that's divided into people who engage in terrorist acts and those who don't.
And it's this mix of stereotypes, this mix of dehumanization, where they can't even set the games in the real countries. This fake, we call it Arabistan.
This means that we are literally interchangeable. All of us Arabs. Our cultures are interchangeable. Jacob Minkoff, former design director at Infinity Ward, the original studio behind Call of...
By the way, while we're on this subject, if you want a video that goes into the differences in different Middle Eastern cultures, there's a fantastic video by a guy named Faria Faraji, where he talks about the difference between Middle Eastern themed Orientalist music and actual Middle Eastern music. You guys should go check that out. It's a great video.
Call of Duty discussed the decision to set its Middle Eastern fighting in a fictitious country.
Do we touch topics that bear a resemblance to the geopolitics of the world we live in today? Hell yeah, because this is that is the subject matter of Modern Warfare. Are we telling a story that has anything to do with the specific governments of any countries that we are portraying? No.
This perpetuates the idea that there is one singular Arab nation, Arab culture. And this ties in very nicely into the current discussion when you talk about Palestinians, like, let any Arab country take them. No, Habibti. No. They're so casual about it. If you notice, all people who support Israel, they always make sure to replace the word Palestinian with Arab. Arabia is not a country. We're different people.
Arabistan is actually sort of a boon because even though it's dehumanizing, even though it's offensive, it's not directly touching any real people that died, right? The 6 Days in Fallujah very explicitly says this is about a real city.
Yeah, let us not lie to ourselves and spin this into just being a video game. This stems from the lack of accountability for America's role in the war in Iraq, in an unjust war that was built on a lie, first of all, where over 1 million people died.
But what I find very interesting is when the...
Okay, so, East, do you want to mention 6 Days in Fallujah first, or should I?
6 Days in Fallujah is a really fun game that kind of sucks, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good summary. It was designed with the intent of bringing to life something that actually happened. It was not meant to justify it at all.
In that case, are you able to play as anyone but the American soldiers?
No, because the only perspective they were able to get for making the game were the American soldiers, because it was an indie game from 2009.
What they wanted to do was paint a picture.
Yeah.
I painted a picture of a butterfly.
We'll put it up on the fridge.
Player of the game is actually an Arab person, because obviously it's a big market in the Arab world for video games. Here's where the cognitive dissonance becomes too much.
He said I killed the pig. Bro, the attention to detail.
Because you're playing and killing people for fun, but those people look like you. And these games are full of coded messages. Not even coded, they're quite obvious that who the terrorists are. If that's the framework you're given, that your country can only look shitty, and your people can only be poor, and they're only ever screaming, or fighting, or dying, then that's how you see yourself. Then you no longer want to be that. That pushes you into whiteness. Because whiteness...
To be fair to that design that he had on screen a second ago, having seen a lot of footage coming out of the wars in the Middle East, a lot of them dress like that, at least in Iraq. In Afghanistan, they dress quite differently. They have a different culture over there.
But his point is, yeah, no, I've seen that. I've like of that. My parents, I'm big into. It's a bit more personal, but like I'm a sword guy. Like I do that. But I was not allowed to in my early days, because there's that negative perception that a weapon with a brown and then you're gonna get like everyone called on. There is that. It's this idea that like you want to sort of hide who you are, which I always hated, because like I come from a very unique region. I'm very like independent of. That's the way that I portray myself. It's I'm not white. I do not associate a lot of myself with like white culture, and sort of being forced to because of stuff like this. Like in all these video games, it's people like me who are the bad guys, and if I would dress much more traditional, definitely it's people that it's me that's the bad guy. So I completely understand how it could be dehumanizing. Or no, it is dehumanizing. They have to sort of strip away that culture and become more quote unquote white. Not that there's anything wrong with being white. If you're white, like all power to you. I'm not you.
Thank you. I do in fact have a lot of power for people.
You heard it here, folks. White power.
If it's not white, it's wrong, as they say.
Anyway, go on.
No, it's just I can relate that this idea that you are subconsciously being told that you are the bad guy, and that the people killing your people, calling you terrorists, that they're the good guy. It's a common thing in especially in American media, where you want to show that the soldiers, you want to be respectful of the soldiers, but the soldiers are also killing people that look like you. That's why I despise war movies, especially modern day war movies, because I just see them as all war criminals. Why are you there? It's just like these are the same people that have insulted me and tried to force me to be like them. It's like it's personal, but also it's like him talking about it proves that it's a shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you about a little game called Far Cry 5. Where I live doesn't get treated any differently, and I live in the same country that pumps the media that criticizes my entire part of the world. It's everybody gets it. It's really not much of a race problem as it is a class problem, I think. If someone's within stepping distance, you're gonna get stepped on. Look, like where I live, if you believe, according to the internet and basically most movies, shows, and games that you're gonna play that depict this place, we're all a bunch of cult-headed, Bible-thumping, gun-toting lunatics that eat people. Like it's spread around to everybody. Everybody's got their way of looking at the other that demonizes or villainizes them in some way to characterized degrees. Like it's not just this one specific one. Now, I will fully admit that Arabs get it a little worse because 9/11. But it is everybody. Everybody's shooting at everybody.
I was gonna say that you also don't get a lot of shit towards like the California elites who actually make these fucking games. But then I remembered, no, Grand Theft Auto 5 exists.
Making the fucking games.
Well, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the one game that actually criticizes California.
And even then, I don't think it does it very well.
Yeah, it just kind of calls Californians stupid, but Californians already think that about themselves and each other. Like, me and Hamoud can attest to this.
Yes, I do agree. You are stupid.
Oh, thank you. Hey!
Because you live in California.
Hey, I didn't choose to live here. Fuck you.
Yes, every day that you stay there, you are choosing to be there.
Listen, I got Hamoud here. I can't just leave him. I can't abandon him to his fate.
You could have said you have a family.
Well, yeah, that too, but they're not in the call right now. I don't have to be nice to them.
And I'm the one whose name is not friendly.
Yeah, but no, for reals though, yeah, I almost did move out of this fucking shithole, but I've got too many people that I care about here.
I did, but that's only because my life was ruined.
Just by the way, it's a state of mind. It's not just the color of the skin, as evidenced by how many
DJ Khaled.
I take it you don't want to talk about it.
All we do is win.
I hate DJ Khaled, man. I doesn't even
just because he's Arab.
Yeah, that's so racist, dude.
No, not even that. It's because he just puts his all he does is shout, another one, or we the best, or whatever, right?
Well, you know what? That sounds like you played yourself.
Shut up. That's not what I. You goddamn.
Oh yeah, Khaled is an Arabic name, isn't it?
It is.
Khaled?
Well,
yeah, his name is Khaled.
He's from somewhere, isn't he?
He's Palestinian.
Ah, yes, he is Palestinian.
Which makes his not caring about what happens, or at least in terms of him saying anything, kind of oh, okay.
Well, as a celebrity,
have you listened to the way he talks? He's such a Californian that I would be astonished that if he was actually born in another country.
Also, when we're dealing with celebrities and entertainers, I think it's a better move to not voice fealty to either side in a conflict happening hundreds of thousands of miles away from you. It's just too much of a touchy subject. You want to keep your job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if this is just me, but I don't watch or look at celebrities who specifically for their political takes. I'm there because of what they offer on
No, but I do as well. But like, unless it's a case where there's Nazis, like the person that is, what's his name, Michael Rappaport. How bro is in the middle of the occupied territories. He's like gone to Gaza. And, I know, getting. Yeah, no, that guy.
You cut out again.
Oh, I'm talking about Michael Rappaport. You guys like from Fallout, the person that dies. Okay, that's not a bad. That's a bad description.
You realize describing a character from Fallout as the person that dies does not narrow it down very well.
In the Fallout show, he's
do you in fact know how little that narrows it down? Like everybody dies in Fallout.
In the Fallout show, he's the guy in the power armor. His first boss, the black guy's first boss.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's Michael Rappaport, and he's a Nazi. So when he died in the Fallout show, I remember I was cheering.
Is he actually a Nazi?
Yes.
Like,
look up what he does, man. He's
a German National Socialist.
No, well, nationalist. Like not the Nazi comes from nationalist, and he very much is a nationalist, but for Israel.
But is he German?
Oh, fine. You want me to say it the Israeli way? Nachi. He's a Nachi.
We all get what everyone's saying.
Yes.
Brown people support Zionism. While the main goal of...
that was such a funny sentence to fucking continue mid-sentence. Brown people support Zionism.
Wild.
You're here, folks. You're here first, folks.
These games, and this big spending behind these games is to recruit people into the army and into the imperial project of America and Israel. Another goal is to remove the desire from indigenous...
I think the point of a video game is to just make money and entertain an audience, at least most of the time.
Well, but also there are like military video games, which, like this one, which kind of do have something else to say.
Which is...
No, I mean, in this case, it's very much like, oh, well, look who the bad guys are. We have to stop them. They're not perfect. We're not perfect, but we're better than them. And so we have to go there and blow them up.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm going to push back on something Trisket said. I don't believe that games are made to entertain people and make money. I think sometimes they're made to break your heart and make you sad.
Don't bring up
play the
Expedition
Outer
33.
Wilds?
I have yet to finish it. Fuck you.
We continue.
I have not. I doubt I'll be able to play that game anytime soon. So
it's good. Go play it.
I can't afford it.
Piracy.
I'll buy it for you.
No, my PC can't handle it. Don't do it.
Okay, fine.
Pirate the entire PC. Pirate the servers.
Pirate a PC? How am I gonna do that, Tristan?
You wouldn't download a car.
You have a console?
What?
Do you have a console?
I do, but it's PS4. Unfortunately, I need to get either an Xbox or PS5 soon.
Apparently, they're coming out with a PS like 6 in like a year or two. So just wait.
Are you serious?
Apparently.
That is ridiculous.
That's what I've heard.
Has it really been 5 years?
It's gonna be a little bunker that you can walk into to play your video games.
That is gonna be wild.
Yeah, supposedly the Xbox is gonna be really good because you can actually link your Steam account and play your Steam games from it. So I hope that's true.
You wait, you can link what?
Your Steam account and play your Steam games on it. I hope that's true.
Are you serious?
Dude.
Dude.
Yeah, like if that happens, I might just pick that one up because fuck.
Microsoft is making moves. Good lord.
Yeah.
I need to go ahead and switch because this is just somebody is not user friendly.
Yeah, not right now. No.
Good lord.
Palestinian people
Sucks
to be and look Palestinian. Sometimes before I leave the house, I always feel like, should I wear the keffiyeh right now? Like, I don't know. It's almost like becomes an inner like challenge with myself. Yes, wear it, bitch. Put it on.
The process of identity.
So I want to point something out. He's using video games. He's saying video games demonize, Arabs and say that, that is like, if not saying that's what causes Arabs to hate themselves, or help, he's saying it helps cause that. But bro, you've never played a video game and you're the one struggling with it.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe he played Mario when he was a kid.
Yeah, no, it's so frustrating. Like, he's almost there, but because he doesn't have this background.
Oh my god. Guys, I figured it out. He played Mario as a kid, and killing Goombas traumatized him. Because they're brown.
This is
fascist
casting a
boot
shadow.
heel of the big nosed funny mustache man is stepping on all the brown people, and they're calling us lizards and shit.
This is. I really don't want to be the one to say this, but this is casting a shadow over everything you've said thus far.
By the way,
Mario's red is analogous for the Roman Empire.
Okay, you joke, but he actually straight up does say something similar regarding Minecraft.
Oh, God.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, his Minecraft stuff is like the weakest part of this video. He's just not
bad.
a gamer. He's not a gamer, and like he's making this whole. Okay, so a lot of his points, if they had the right context and if they were from video games and from media, I would understand. I would be like, okay, I am on his side, but like it's just so frustrating that like, dude, there's better ways to go about it than what you're doing. Like I don't want to make this. I don't want to make this video, but I feel like I should if I because I'm a gamer. I've played through these games, and like these games made me feel really fucking bad.
This is casting a shadow over everything he has said thus far.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say that like everything that's like more video game. Ironically, in this video game video, all the stuff that's video game related just hurts him, whereas the stuff that is not video game related is the more important stuff. It's like
the issue with that is that he's saying that they caused this, and thus far he has not given any examples as to what this has caused. He's saying that this is at best tangentially related.
Was there a thesis to top that off with, or...
No.
Okay.
It's just...
That was the thesis.
That was the thesis.
Identification almost with the perpetrator, with your perpetrator, your colonizer. And you're right, part of that is I think part of the way they do it is by triggering that not good enough stuff or not worthy.
I thought this guy's last name was Roundbutts for a second. I was like, that's unfortunate.
Enough or not good enough. And that's why the white empire is not totally made up of white people.
By the way, not.
So.
Wait. What?
The white empire. So video games make brown people feel like they're not good enough, and that's why the white empire is not entirely made up of white people.
You shouldn't have said
brown
white
people
empire.
want to be on Team White?
No, but okay, so it's the idea that like, oh, you're bad, why don't you join us because we're good? And I've seen that happen. I've seen people say that, oh, all the media that I'm in portrays me as a bad guy. I don't want to be seen as a bad guy, so I'm just going to act more white. The symbolism is there, but I don't think he should have gone that way. I think he should have been maybe the American Empire,
or just Western hegemony.
Colonism. Exactly.
Because at least then he would have had a point, because when you say white empire, it's like, well, Russia's clearly not part of that, and they're one of the whitest countries in the world, so what the fuck does that mean? And also Japan, South Korea, depending on how you want to categorize it, India and Taiwan, they're part of this white empire. What the fuck does that mean? Are they not good enough?
Exactly.
Like, are they all trying to be white? Well, in my experience, no.
India is those fucking. Never mind. No comment.
No, if India was trying to be white, they'd take showers.
They can't. No comment.
I'll say it. They can't. Because there's no clean water.
You're right.
Oh, man.
Because they're disgusting.
Wall based. I can neither. I can't. I cannot
every
comment
time.
on it. I cannot comment on that.
You just did. You said base. You said base, bitch.
Base could mean anything. Base could mean anything.
Based on what?
Base is a fucking suffix. It's a suffix that you use as a response. It's a reciprocative statement. Call it response, motherfucker. Don't try to trick me. You're gaslighting me.
Are you trying to sound like Bubble now, or?
Daddy Bubble's got all your problems. Whatever the fuck the line is.
What? What is that from? Is that from Expedition 33?
Digital Circus.
No, is that from Expedition? Yes, that's from Expedition 33. Don't say shit. Francois says it.
Fuck.
Not only are these games used to recruit people into the Imperial Project, they're also used to rewrite history.
The wolf is with the butcher. Terrorist cells in the city will hide them. There is only one road. Tariq and...
Oh yeah, wait a minute. Actually, hip-hop is a pretty big part of this so-called white empire. Is that a white culture?
Well, yes, it is now. Eminem's the best.
Hip-hop came from black culture.
Yeah, exactly. It's predominantly a black thing, and currently it is dominating the pop culture part of pop culture.
It is, yes.
So, like...
Most of the top rappers are white right now.
Wait,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. Most of them are white, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good example.
It's not.
Wait. I could swear all of the big ones are black.
No,
Name the big ones.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, like, I don't listen
Name
to
one.
rap very
Name
often,
one.
so I don't know what the
Name
big
a
ones
single-
are.
okay.
Just name a
Well, then
single.
how do
Just
you
name a single
know?
one. Name a single one.
Ice Cube's not one anymore. He's too busy. Well, I was gonna say acting, but he's not
What
doing
the
that anymore
fuck?
either. Fucking.
Oh, man.
Get a load of this nigga.
Right. Like, good lord.
Or evidently this not one.
I would have at least expected you to know Fetty Wap. Like,
Yeah, man. Like,
No. I don't listen to mainstream music. Fuck that shit. It's mostly garbage anyway.
Doesn't listen to it.
Sort of.
Oh, it's garbage.
Doesn't
Sort of.
listen to it. Makes many comments about it.
makes a general statement. Yeah. The most.
Bro, I
general
used
one,
to
yeah.
listen to that fucking radio slop every fucking day, and then I just stopped
Who says-
listening to it because I found better music.
All
Okay.
right,
Sorry
who were the
that I have
artists in the radio
taste.
slop?
Who were the artists that weren't pop?
I swear to God, if you
Let's
just say
see.
Taylor
I was listening to the radio for pretty much almost the entirety of the 2010s. So
Jay Z song was on.
So I put my hands up by my side.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I hate that song.
Good.
That's the whitest song known to man. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Culture trader.
Right.
Race trader.
No,
I know
because I found
some
even
of,
more white music. Fuck you. I listen to
I know
folk
some,
music now. I listen to European folk metal. Suck my dick.
I know some Middle Eastern. I know a Middle Eastern pop song actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I ran so far.
Shut the fuck up. I sincerely actually thought you were gonna say it was the Skibbity Bop Bop guy.
Skibbity-biddy-bidum-dum-dum.
No, the other one.
Wait,
Skibbity dop dop dop. Yes, skibbity beep, skibbity bop. I thought you were gonna reference that guy.
I don't think I know what that is.
Oh, it's really
Why?
funny. I don't think it
gonna
was
have
in the
to-
original music video, but there was like a meme video of this like obese guy, just like bouncing his belly up, and that was how he was dancing, and it was perfectly to the
Yeah.
fucking beat of the song. It was hilarious.
You're gonna have to send.
Yeah, I'm
this
gonna have to fucking
after.
find that.
You know, Rogar, sometimes the way you talk reminds me of Dudley from Street Fighter 3.
Is that good or bad?
It's good. Well, so how much about Dudley from Street Fighter 3 do you know?
It's been a while, man, since I've played.
He's the gentleman boxer character.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember him.
Like, especially just then when I said, I don't think I know what that is, and you were like, neither do I. I was like, what the fuck was that? Gutter trash.
I was raised to speak proper by my mom, so it
Yes, of course.
it just comes out, I guess. I don't know.
You needed to act more white. That's the whole point of what we've been talking about.
Anyway, he's about to get to a point that I actually think is good, for once. like no caveats, nothing. Like he's actually about to make a really good point.
The highway of death. The Russians bombed it during the invasion.
But that's
In Modern Warfare 2019, the Highway of Death mission references a real-life strip of land in Iraq that was attacked by US-led forces in 1991 during the Persian Gulf War. In real life, the US forces bombarded retreating Iraqi troops in Kuwait's Highway 80, causing so much death and destruction that the Washington Post reported the US scrambled to shape the narrative surrounding it. And former Attorney General Ramsey Clark called it a war crime in his 1992 book. But in the game Modern Warfare, they made it so that the Russians were the ones who were bombing the retreating troops along the Highway of Death, not the Americans. This is how you know games like Call of Duty are used as tools of propaganda. By the way, in all of these video games that I was researching, if the terrorist is not Arab, he's Russian.
We're easy prey for the Russians out here.
It's amazing how somehow they all end up serving the goals of the empire.
There was actually a good point. Holy shit, a good point. Like, unironically, no notes, no comments.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
However,
Every country would do it, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I guess, fine, a note. But, like, still, fuck, shit, a good point.
Also,
no caveats, no notes.
aren't we technically still? Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't we technically still at a Cold War with Russia, or am I wrong?
It's not what it was. It's not what it was.
There's tension, but
It's
it's
at a
not an
center.
official Cold War. If you want a real Cold War, there's one between China and the US right now, and China's kind of winning it.
Yeah,
because
they are.
most
By doing nothing. By doing nothing.
Oh no, they're
gonna
doing something, but not.
It's a bit of a trade war going on right now.
Yeah.
isn't it?
I'm gonna go to Russia with a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, most
It's
of
gonna
what
be a
China's
war.
doing isn't to America. I mean, aside from buying up our land, but they're just like they're putting a lot of third world countries into debt traps because for some reason we decided to abandon them.
Well, the reason I ask this is because there's a reason why that like Russia is the big bad in a lot of these
Oh yeah, and actually
games.
that history goes back even further than the Cold War. That goes back to like I think it was like even before the Crimean War. There was a period. Fuck, I forget his name. There was a guy that made.
So back further than back further than what he's this person is.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the channel in my JBat. Let's see. Yeah, he made a video called The Complicated History. No, excuse me, sorry. The Complicated History of Slavs in Western Media, and it's actually really good. It goes into a lot of detail about like how the history of ideological conflict between Eastern Europe and Western Europe is still very much in effect today, and how that's affected Western media. Yeah, very very good video actually.
So, all this to say, this isn't anything new.
The Russian part, no. If anything,
the Russian part isn't.
Yeah, if anything, adding Arabs to it is, but that's mainly because of 9/11, I would say.
Yeah. So again, video games aren't the cause here.
Yeah, they're a reaction.
They're a reaction.
At worst, they are a perpetuating factor, but I'm not even. I wouldn't even go that far.
Yeah. Like a lot of what he's saying, not to diminish his points, it flies in the face of what, like the media bits fly in the face of what he's saying. Like the rewriting history bit, genuinely good point. However, it doesn't quite land.
It doesn't land. Well, we saw very clearly that the Highway of Death, which was an American war crime, is being attributed now to the Russians.
I'm aware. No, I'm aware of that. The issue is
something definitely landed on it.
what the issue is, the overall point he's making about the gamification of this.
No, that is becoming easy. I mean, like we've become desensitized to the attacks in the Middle East, like every other day, especially like before October 7th. We've been hearing about American airstrikes on Iran. We've been hearing about American strikes in targets in Syria. It's just like, it's normal. It's become normal.
Well, and notice how there was almost always outrage.
Mm-hmm.
Outrage.
Yeah, every time that happened, sure. I saw outrage.
I saw nothing.
Sure, there was like maybe some outrage, but we knew that it was continuing. Well,
yeah, and that's why I will always say that there is a difference between the behaviors of a given government and the people that government claims to represent.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always make that separation. Like, even if I don't end up like making that distinction, I always mean it. Like, I think the average American is fucking sick of war and isn't going to be affected by a video game enough to actually want to go to war. There are some absolute fucking sickos who want to go to war, but it's not because of the video games, it's because they are sick people. Like, at best, the video game just gave them an idea.
No, but that's the issue, right? Like, all you need are those sick peoples. I mean, looking through some of the what we see of, the massacres I was talking about, looking through some of the claims, people were just saying, oh, I'm there to kill people, right? Yeah. Now, if you have a video game that, like, talks all about, oh, the Middle East and you kill a whole bunch of drowned people, now you can do it in real life. I feel like it's perpetuating this idea that, oh, it's okay to kill people if you go over to the Middle East and do it.
Well, by that logic, books are dangerous because Catcher in the Rye inspired a murder.
Oh, well, okay. I wouldn't say something as far as that, but like with a video game, you are doing the actions in the video game of going and killing people, right? Like that's what you do in a video game.
Well, sure, but a lot of people also do the actions that they read in books.
Yeah,
we wouldn't say that books are the cause of those actions.
No, but if we have a book that specifically talks about like how wonderful and glorious it is to fight, and we actually have stuff about this where people are I know with the White Man's Burden, that inspired a lot of people to actually go over to British India who were British and volunteer.
Well, to be fair, that
the
wasn't
White Man's Burden.
That wasn't fiction, was it?
The White Man's Burden was fucking fiction.
Wait, it was? I thought it was a thesis.
Okay.
No, because I haven't read it. I don't know much about it.
That sounds like something you'd like write a thesis on.
But okay, so you have these accounts of people being so inspired from, like, for example, books or from other media that they will end up joining the war because World War One. Let's look at World War One, for example. A lot of these German schoolboys were so inspired by the stuff that they read about, cavalrymen and knights and all these, King Arthur sort of stuff, that they end up joining the war only to find out that it's hell, right? I would say that in the same way you're doing this, where it's like, oh wow, look at how rating so like fun, or you're like with the boys, you're riding Humvees and like, oh, bullets are firing at you, but you're just dodging. It's very testosterone, not testosterone.
No,
It's
I
very
think testosterone.
adrenaline inducing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so
that's true too.
you would see this and you're like, okay, actually, I want to do this. Drive a.
You have a what? You cut out.
Oh, I feel like, you have people that are like, so they see all this adrenaline. They're like, oh, well, now I want to go.
Sure,
Yeah.
but that doesn't
Now
make the
keep in-
violence itself easier.
No, but I feel like it does, especially if you disassociate them with being actual people, especially behind like drone combat.
I feel like it doesn't. Like, remember what I said? Like, having played video games basically my entire life, and even being duped by them at a young age, because I was 12 and stupid. And then I decided to start looking into like combat footage, and I decided, oh, I kind of don't want to do that because that fucking sucks. Like, it's a
Not everyone is like you. Not everyone
I
took
know.
the time out to imagine.
But I don't
imagine
think I'm that
you didn't
strange
do that.
either.
No, but imagine that you didn't do that, that you didn't look at combat footage, and that you were like, oh, well, now I just want to, my goal now is to join the military.
Well,
Like,
sure, and that would
wouldn't
mean
that
that I
be-
would be in the military, but that wouldn't mean that it's
Exactly.
easier for me to be violent. If anything,
Yeah.
I would say that it would actually be worse because I was completely unprepared because I was lied to. So I would actually
but
be
now you're
suffering
in there.
stronger PTSD than had I prepared myself and still joined the army anyway.
Yeah, but then you're still there, and you're still committing violence. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not you're prepared for it, you are there. That's what matters.
Yes, but no.
No, okay, but you see my meaning that, like, you get so like these games might be so fun and so like especially for someone that has no like recourse in life, someone that's like dead on
I see your meaning, but I disagree with it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that like you believe that video games have not caused at least one person to join the military?
No, we're
I'm
not
not
saying that it
saying
hasn't
that.
happened at all. We're saying that that doesn't happen enough to justify this crusade against them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking that like he's not trying to have like a crusade about it. I think he just wants there to be like a bit more representation, more understanding about the people that are being shown in these movies, or not movies, in these video games. How they're not always, like fully the bad guy.
I don't think
and
he
they're
knows
a
video
lot
games
fewer
well
human-
enough to know the difference, honestly.
Also,
And considering that
also,
he's very blatant about being an activist, yeah, crusade. That's an accurate word for it.
and also he's been accusatory this entire video.
Yeah.
So it
And-
being
and-
Sometimes
it being
fairly
accused-
so,
funny.
but like other times it's
You're
like,
using the word crusade to talk about someone that's Middle Eastern, holy wild.
well, no,
No, that's not.
you
that's
you
not-
know what I mean. Like he's on a like moral campaign right now.
But a lot of the stuff that he is talking about, I feel like it is very relevant, and we do see aspects of this.
Well,
You
sure,
know,
but
like,
the thing is, like,
I'm convinced. No, because Trisket, what you were describing is almost exactly how people get in there, except you took the time out of your day to actually look at combat footage and realize, oh my god, this is... I'm convinced that a lot of people didn't do that. A lot of people just went directly in, especially, and it's okay, the military is a good option for people that have no other recourse in life.
which
you know?
I think
lot
is
of,
more
like-
important than the video game part. But yeah.
a lot of people also don't play video games.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, but then we're ignoring them at this point. Like, we're talking about the people that play video games and that are inspired enough to join the army,
Well,
especially
but do
after.
you think? Hold on, because this is specifically about the demonization of Arabs. Keep in mind that's what's in the thumbnail.
Mm.
Do you think that the average person who joins the army because they played Call of Duty hates Arabs.
Yes.
That is
Really?
a broad brush, my guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not convinced of that.
Imagine right after 9/11, right? You have this. Oh, these strange people from the Middle East destroyed our fucking towers. They blew up our Pentagon. Oh hell no! We're gonna send these fucking sand monkeys exactly where they belong.
We're not
Yeah,
talking
no,
about-
no. The majority of people that join the U.S. military are these kind of people. I'm convinced of that.
Okay, is it because they played a video game, or is it because
I think
a tragedy happened?
No,
Yeah, I think 9/11's a little bit more important to the 9/11 part.
A tragedy happened, sure, absolutely, but then you have the people in the next generation. So
You're you're conflating a video game with a national tragedy.
Okay, so then why do we have people sign up in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010?
Because they
11,
weren't old enough to
12?
join when 9/11 happened, but they were old enough to watch
Exactly.
it happen.
And what was also going on as well, you have all these video games where you have, the main bad guys being these Arabs.
Yeah, all four of them.
When did Call of Duty start?
Like 1999. They didn't start doing the Modern Warfare stuff until 2007.
So then...
And then the subsequent year was a World War II shooter again, and then they did their second Modern Warfare game, in which there is one level in the Middle East.
So then the point doesn't really... You're reaching.
I'm reaching? Hold on. Okay. So you have this national tragedy where Arabs are now portrayed as, the villains. And this has been going on. I've had this experience going on all the way well to 15. Okay, 15 years. Let's imagine 15 years. You're telling me in 15 years that all the video games that are happening, of which we have, stuff happening in the Middle East, that is not a contributing factor to people wanting to go over and volunteer? That's not at least a contributing factor? It may not be. So you're telling me that does not happen?
No, I'm saying there are absolutely people who want to go, join the military because they played video games, but I don't think that most of those people hate Arabs because they played video games, and if they did, I'm not sure that they're intelligent enough to pass the ASVAB test.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to pass it. They just put you in infantry if you pass poorly.
Yeah, well. Fair enough on that front, then.
Fair.
And the thing is, back, with those original Modern Warfare games, sure, there's actually a discussion to be had about that. But this video was made in March of this year. I don't think that the primarily American audience is going to have the reaction that you're describing, because 9/11 is now a fading memory. It's still part of living memory, and it will be for the next 2 or 3 generations. Or longer, depending on how you measure living memory. But I don't think... I don't think that there's really that strong of a connection anymore. In fact, that's probably why we're starting to see a lot more nuance in the games set in the Middle East.
I know we don't generally accept personal experience as a legitimate source of, a resource for study, shall we say, but 9/11 happened when I was 7 years old. It is one of my earliest childhood memories. I didn't want to join the military until I was 23, and I've never had any kind of bias against Arabs. You know who I wanted to kill when I joined the when I thought about joining the military? Literally whoever. Because I was a very angry kid who at that time in my life had endured a lot of personal tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about ideology. It wasn't about who they were, who I
venting.
wanted to fight against, or whose freedoms I wanted to defend, or which terrorists I wanted to kill. It was about purging a negative energy from myself. Sometimes people just join the military.
Yeah, and now keep in mind, the war on terror has been going on for more than 20 years now. Out of the millions of people who have served, I have absolutely no doubt that some fucking moron played a video game, turned racist and then joined the army because they wanted to kill brown people. I have no doubt that that happened at least a handful of times, and it would disappoint but probably not shock me if that number was in the hundreds. But out of the millions of people who served in that period, from America alone, I don't think that that's even a remote majority. I don't think that that was like a blip on the radar. Or at least to have all those factors, like, combined. You know, to have, you know, one or two of them, sure. Like, there were absolutely racists joining so that they could go kill brown people, absolutely. But they were racist before they played the video games. And there are people who played the video games and joined because it looked cool. But they don't have any prejudice in their hearts. Like, that's what I think is why I'm trying to defend, like, video games as a medium, because I don't think that the connection that he's making is strong enough to make the claims that he's making.
Now, okay, imagine if we had a situation where we look at, like, both sides, both an American and, for example, let's say in this case, Iraqi side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, do you think that people will be more inclined or less inclined to join the military after playing a video game like that, where you do see the results of, you know, what war is?
Well, to steal a quote from East earlier this episode, people joined up because they watched Full Metal Jacket. That movie does not paint the military in even a remotely cool light. And people still joined up because of that movie. So...
people get inspired
yeah.
by all sorts of things.
Like, people will take anything that has any remote level of connection to them. For some, it's a sense of duty. For some, it's the rule of cool. For some, there's an ideological reason for it. There's, like, for every person joining up in the military, there is another different reason to join the military. Because people are complex and